Okay, hello and welcome. Welcome along to the Solent Sports News Midweek Live. I'm your presenter, Will Cope, for this evening's programme. We've got round the grounds this evening. We've got plenty of reporters up and down the land talking to us a big night of football. We've got UEFA Champions League, EFL Championship, League One and League Two. There's the best of the rest from the non-league as well. Plus, we'll have the updates from snooker's Champion of Champions tournament in Milton Keynes. In fact, that's where we're going to go right away. It's the second quarter final this evening. They've been going at it all day. It's the second quarter final tonight between David Gilbert and Judd Trump. Our reporter there is Wes Spearman. Wes.
Yes, good evening. Thank you. Been watching earlier today the first match between Judd Trump and Stuart Beam. Trump won that very easily indeed, 4-0. Wrapped the game up within an hour. Trump, of course, ranked number one in the world. The second game, Sean Murphy against another tonight's finalist, David Gilbert. Gilbert quite obviously won that 4-2. Gilbert's in the first frame made a century break, and that sort of set the tone for the match, with Sean Murphy missing the pack of reds, 15 reds to aim at, missed it on 3 occasions. Can you believe that? Gilbert was 3-0 up, but Murphy pulled it back to 3-2, but Gilbert won best of 7 frames there. And as you say tonight, Judd Trump, the number one in the world against David Gilbert, who's ranked 12th. And there is quite a disparity in the standard of these two players. You might say Gilbert's still a good player, but Trump only one of 5 players to make over 700 century breaks. Gilbert just at 287, but he has been professional for a lot less time. But Trump is the favourite for tonight, and any time I say Trump, I am of course referring to the snooker, not the US election.
Thank you very much, Wes. Just for those people that aren't sure about what this Champion of Champions tournament is, just give us a bit of a brief rundown of exactly what it is and how it came about, Wes.
Well, this Champion of Champions tournament is a non-ranking event compared to most events on the snooker calendar. It takes 16 champions, hence the name Champion of Champions, from snooker's main ranking events. So the Masters, Welsh Open, UK Open, the World Championships, events like that, and gets them to play in a knockout tournament. Best of 16 players, 4 groups of 4. Neil Robertson, the champion of Group 1, beating Ding Junhui in the final yesterday, 6-4. But loads of great names, the likes of Mark Selby, Ronnie O'Sullivan, Kyron Wilson, another one of this year's World Championship finalists. Now, some up-and-coming names like Scott Donaldson as well, all of whom have won ranking events in the last year or so, all of them competing for £150,000 at the Marshall Arena in Milton Keynes. Brilliant.
Thank you very much to Wes. We'll have plenty more from Wes throughout the evening. That match getting going in the last 5 minutes or so. Let's turn our attentions though to the Sky Bet Championship. There's a couple of 7 o'clock kickoffs, so they're in the early stages with some brief team news and also a little bit of an update. Here's Billy Taylor watching Brentford against Swansea. Billy.
Yes, we're just underway here at the Brentford Community Stadium, and it's still Brentford 0, Swansea 0. The Bees wearing their new 3rd kit with salmon, purple and blue trim on a nice white background for the first time. As for the team news, the home side make 3 changes with Sorensen, Janelt and Canos making way for Good, Jensen and Godos, meaning Brentford line up with Raya in goal, Dalsgaard, Good, Pinnock, Henry at the back, Jensen, Marcondes and De Silva in midfield with a front 3 of Mbuemo, Tony and Godos. Meanwhile, on the bench are Luke Daniels, Dom Thompson, Sergi Canos, Marcus Force, Tariq Fosu, Vitaly Janelt and Finn Stevens. For Swansea, just the one change of Ryan Bennett getting the nod in defence over Kyle Norton, meaning they line up with Woodman in goal, a back 5 of Roberts, Bennett, Cabango, Guerhi, Bidwell, Fulton and Smith in midfield with a front 3 of Danda, Ayew and Lowe. On the bench for the Swans, Bender, Norton, Manning, Grimes, Routledge, Palmer and Gyorkes. Just a couple minutes gone here, Will. Brentford 0, Swansea 0.
Plenty more from Billy throughout the evening. Billy Taylor there at the Brentford Community Stadium. Henry Buxton is watching Huddersfield against Bristol City at the John Smith Stadium. Henry, early stages, what have you had?
Yes, well, Huddersfield are facing Bristol City at the John Smith Stadium tonight, and the game is already underway. It's a real mid-table clash in our hands, as Bristol and Huddersfield lie 10th and 12th respectively at the start of play. However, both can move up to the playoff places with a win tonight, and if all results go their way. Last time out, Huddersfield produced a convincing 3-0 win against Millwall, while Bristol City will be looking to bounce back after their 3-1 defeat at home to Norwich. The Robins haven't won in their last 5 games. The last victory came away at Nottingham Forest a month ago today. The Terriers have won 3 of their last 5 and look to extend their good fortune tonight. The last time these two sides met was February of this year, and Town came out 2-1 victors in that game. Some team news: Pieper comes into the squad and will start tonight for Huddersfield Town. Richard Stearman and Fraser Campbell move off the bench to start as well, taking the places of Adama Diakhaby and D'Amico Duhaney. Alex Pritchard and Janino Bacuna are out, so Romany Critchlow and Matty Daly take their places as substitutes. Bristol City made only 2 changes, with Tommy Rowe and Tyreek Bakinson coming in, and Taylor Moore and Jamie Patterson dropped to the bench. However, Bakinson was injured in the warm-up today, so he is replaced by Adam Nagy, and Opie Edwards has come into the substitutes. We are now in the 9th minute. It remains Huddersfield Town 0, Bristol City 0.
Thank you very much there to Henry. So just to reiterate, Swansea against Brentford at the Brentford Community Stadium, a 7 o'clock kickoff, as is Huddersfield against Bristol City. We'll have updates on that throughout the evening. A couple of 7:45 kickoffs also in the Sky Bet Championship. Blackburn are taking on Middlesbrough Ewood Park. There for us is Regan Valley.
Yes, good evening, Will. Good evening, everybody. The main headline coming out of Ewood Park tonight is that league top scorer Adam Armstrong is out tonight. He had a hamstring problem in the weekend fixture against Swansea. There was a late fitness test and he failed, so he will not be in tonight. That's one of 2 changes for Tony Mowbray on the side that lost 2-0 to Swansea at the weekend, with Sam Gallagher and Tyree Stolen both coming in alongside Liverpool only Harvey Elliott and Bren Burton in a very attacking lineup for Rovers, with Corey Evans, the one dropping to the bench alongside Armstrong. There's also a return to the bench for Joe Rothwell, who completed his isolation and is on his bench tonight. Alternatively, for Neil Warnock and his Middlesbrough side, no new injury concerns for him. He makes 2 changes as well, though both defensive ones, as Daniel Fry, who had a virus, not the coronavirus, just a regular bug. He's returned to the starting lineup alongside Jed Spence, who both replace Nathan Wood and Sam Morsey, who misses the squad altogether for an unknown reason. Look like both going for 4-3-3, very attacking. And hopefully one team, as 9 of the last 15 matches between these have both ended in draws, 2 attacking lineups. Maybe we could see a win for either side tonight.
Thank you very much there to Regan. That's a 7:45 kickoff at Ewood Park. Also 7:45 kickoff in South Wales. Cardiff are entertaining Barnsley at the Cardiff City Stadium. There for us is Ethan Evans.
Yeah, it's a game between sides with very contrasting fortunes. An injury-struck Cardiff City limped to a last-minute away defeat against QPR last time out, but Bluebirds fans will be ecstatic that summer signing Harry Wilson is fit to start today, as he is one of 3 changes made by Neil Harris, with Junior Hoylett and Robert Glatzel starting proceedings. Very different for a revamped Barnsley side who have just started fantastically under new manager Valerian Ismail. Alex Mowat remains after his wonder strike, earned them a surprise 1-0 win against promotion favourites Watford last time out, with 2 changes to that lineup, with Dominic Fraser and Elliot Simois coming in. Top scorer Corey Woodrow, though, a key absentee through injury. It's going to be a real dogged affair here at the Cardiff City Stadium.
Thank you very much there to Ethan Edwards, keeping an eye on Cardiff against Barnsley. There are other games going on in the Sky Bet Championship, and of course we'll keep you up to date with the goals as they go in around those matches. In Sky Bet League 1 tonight, there's a raft of fixtures, no bigger, I would suggest, than AFC Wimbledon against Doncaster. This taking place at a brand new Plough Lane Stadium. Rosie Russell.
Yes, Will. So here at Plough Lane, AFC Wimbledon versus Doncaster Rovers. Teams are just arriving. Doncaster are putting up the same team as they did against their win against Lincoln City on Saturday. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on. Wimbledon have made some changes. The team's more or less the same as the team they drew against MK Dons on at the weekend. They've got their top goal scorer, Joe Piggott, who's won 4 goals and 4 assists this season. But Will Nightingale moves off the bench and he's actually moved into the captain's position for Wimbledon. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And Darren Drysdale will be the ref for this evening. He reffed the last game against these 2 teams and he booked 3 players. But as you say, a new stadium at Plough Lane, and a lot of emotions for both teams, especially Wimbledon. And manager Glenn Hodges says he's making sure the emotion doesn't get to the players, because it could be a very, very tough game for them to control the emotion and the game. And it's not just the home side who are having a tough time. Darren Moore, Doncaster Rovers manager, he says that it's going to be a very emotional, not just for Wimbledon, but also Doncaster. And they are prepared for a difficult game and hope to get the best results. Kickoff at 7:45.
So, Rosie, you mentioned that it is a new Plough Lane Stadium. It's been a couple of years in the making, hasn't it? But from the pictures that I've seen this week, it looks like a pretty tidy stadium as well.
Yes, it's very nice here. They've waited 10,776 days to be exact for this fantastic stadium, capacity of 9,300. And I think it's a really emotional time for the club, because they are a fans-owned club. So the fans have had a big part in producing this stadium. They actually produced the last 5.4 million to build it. They had an £11 million shortfall at the end of the final year of the project, and the fans were there to help out. They've raised 7.5 million through crowdfunding. So it's actually a real shame the fans can't be here tonight. As you can see behind me, empty stadium, no fans. So it's a bit of a bittersweet evening, I think, for the Wimbledon fans.
Absolutely, that's very much the case up and down the country, isn't it? So Rosie will be keeping us up to date in what goes on in that game, kicking off half an hour from now. Also in League One, we've got a reporter at Northampton against MK Dons, that man being Ben Burgess. Ben.
Thank you, Will. Somewhat a local derby, this one, with only 22 miles separating the two sides at Sixfields this evening. Northampton versus MK Dons, as you say. Only a point in the table as well, more importantly, with both clubs hovering precariously above the relegation zone, sitting in 18th and 19th, respectively. As for the team news, Northampton manager Keith Curle makes just one change from the side that won so impressively by 3-2 at Wigan on Saturday. The experienced Mickey Adams drops out, with Mark Marshall dropping in at left wing back. More importantly, though, for Northampton, a return for Ricky Holmes. He signed yesterday. He's only got a spot on the bench this evening, but he was in such an integral part of their promotion-winning side from League Two in the 2015-16 season. He signed yesterday evening, and their fans are absolutely delighted to have him back. As for the away side, MK Dons, 3 changes for them from the side that drew 1-1 to AFC Wimbledon on the weekend. Out go Matthew Sorinola, Lasse Sorensen, and Stephen Walker, and coming in are Daniel Harvey, David Casamu and Carlton Morris. Maybe not got the attraction of some of the Champions League ties tonight, but I feel like it could be a really good game here at Sixfields. Kickoff 7:45.
Thank you very much. Ben will be keeping us up to date with what's going on there in League One. Just a quick roundup of also the other matches that we'll be keeping our eye on in terms of scores tonight. We'll come on to the Champions League in a moment or so. We've talked about Brentford against Swansea and Blackburn against Middlesbrough, as well as Cardiff against Barnsley. Also tonight, Huddersfield against Bristol City, we also discussed. No goals in any of those games so far. Norwich 0, Millwall 0, also in a 7 o'clock kickoff, as it's also goalless between Sheffield Wednesday and Bournemouth, also in a 7 o'clock kickoff. 17 minutes on the clock in all those games. In League One, these are all 7 o'clock kickoffs. It's Shrewsbury 0, Burton 1, Blackpool 0, Wigan 0, Bristol Rovers 0, Peterborough 0. Charlton are beating Fleetwood by 1-0. It's goalless at the moment between Crewe and Gillingham. Portsmouth have taken an early lead away at Lincoln. It's Lincoln 0, Pompey 1. Oxford United and Rochdale currently 0-0. And Plymouth 2, Swindon 1. 3 goals in the first 18 minutes there at Home Park has meant that it's Plymouth 2, Swindon 1. In League 2, incidentally, also some earlier kickoffs. Oldham 1, Cheltenham 1. They're into the second half with that match. It's Morecambe 2, Exeter 1 as they approach half-time. Bolton 0, Mansfield 0. Bradford 1, Southend United 0. Things really not looking very good for the Shrimpers, is it, at the bottom of League 2 at the moment. Cambridge 0, Salford 0. Carlisle 0, Newport 0. Colchester 1, Stevenage 1. It's also goalless between Forest Green and Leyton Orient, Grimsby and Barrow, Harrogate and Tranmere, and Walsall and Crawley. The majority of those, with the exception of the first two, Oldham and Morecambe, are 7 o'clock kickoffs. We'll also, incidentally, be keeping our eye on what's going on in not the EFL or indeed the Champions League, but a really interesting looking tie, in actual fact, of what's going on in the Sussex County Senior Cup tonight. 7:45, Bognor Regis Town are taking on Burgess Hill Town at the Nye Camp. Our man is Henry Deacon.
Well, first and foremost, it's a spot the difference competition compared to the rest of the games this evening. There is a crowd here at Narrow Lane tonight. 600 are allowed in for what will be the last taste of football for both of these sides before the enforced lockdown and shutdown of non-league football. It's a Sussex Senior Cup at stake this evening. We've not been given any team news as of yet, but just having a look behind me, Bognor warming up, and it looks as if it's a fairly strong squad, a stronger squad than perhaps usually they'd see in this type of game. Burgess Hill are of the Isthmian League First Division South East. There's a league gap between these two. Kickoff at Narrow Lane is in just under half an hour's time.
Thank you very much there to Henry. So we'll be keeping you up to date in a whole host of games tonight on Solent Sports News Live. It's a midweek special tonight as we keep our eye on things going up and down the UK. In a moment or so, we'll be looking at the UEFA Champions League. Plenty of matches kicking off at 8 o'clock. More on that in a moment or so. But let's get back to the Brentford Community Stadium and get an update in a 7 o'clock kickoff. Brentford against Swansea. Billy Taylor.
Will you join me where Swansea have just had the best chance of the game? The ball crossed into the box. Swansea, 7 of their goals this season have been created from those wide positions of Roberts and Bidwell. Another cross comes into the box. It is headed away by Brentford. But Jan Danda hits a sweet volley, but it's going for the top corner. And David Ray has just tipped that round the post for a Swansea corner. Apart from that, Brentford have had the better of the opening stages. And Buemo free kick that hit the wall, but looked like it could have reached the top corner. And Henrik Dalsgaard found his way up into the box. He doesn't do that too often. He cut inside, had a shot on his left foot, and it was just past the near post. But still, Brentford 0, Swansea 0 after 18 minutes here in West London.
Thank you very much, Billy. Goals as they go in, of course, around the country tonight. Also in a 7 o'clock kickoff in the Championship, our man Henry Buxton is at the John Smith Stadium watching Huddersfield against Bristol City. Henry.
Yeah, we've just had our first shot on target from Huddersfield Town. Peeper had a decent shot, but it didn't really test the keeper. It was an easy catch in the end. Bristol City kind of came close 11 minutes in. Naki Wells, the ex-Huddersfield man, hitting the bar for Bristol City, but it's still 0-0 here.
Thank you very much, Henry. So I mentioned, didn't I, that there's a whole host of UEFA Champions League matches tonight as well. Liverpool, first and foremost, in action away in northern Italy at Atalanta at the Gaywood Stadium. Watching for us is Jack Mayo. Jack.
Yep, good evening, Will. Good evening, everyone. Just had the team news for the Gaywood Stadium. Atalanta make 2 changes from the side that beat Crotone on Saturday. Christian Romero is on the bench and Jose Palimo comes in defence. And Alejandro Gomez drops into midfield and Ruslan Malinkovsky comes in for Duvan Zapata, who comes up front. As for the Premier League champions, it's 2 changes for them as well in the side that beat West Ham on Saturday. Nat Phillips comes out for Reece Williams, and then Roberto Firmino comes out for Diogo Jota, who's been in brilliant form recently.
Thank you very much, Jack. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff in Group D. We'll be coming on to the other Group D match in a moment or so. Just pause and let you know what's been going on in some of the earlier kickoffs. These were 5 to 6 kickoffs. Lokomotiv Moscow 1, Atletico Madrid 1. That's currently 20 minutes to go in that match. And Shakhtar Donetsk are being absolutely thumped by Borussia Mönchengladbach as we speak. It's currently Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Borussia Mönchengladbach 5. Goals as they go in around the country tonight on Solent Sports News Live, a midweek special. Let's get back to our reporters then. In Group C, Manchester City are taking Olympiacos at the Etihad Stadium. And watching for us is Matt Ryan.
Thank you, Will. The City will be happy to come into this game with only 3 injuries. Sergio Aguero, who's been missing since the second game of the season, misses out. Fernandinho and Benjamin Mendy in defence, also not at the Etihad tonight. But there is some good news for the fans. Gabriel Jesus, who has been out for the whole season, has returned onto the bench, as well as Aymeric Laporte, who City fans will be happy to see back in the squad. Meanwhile, Olympiacos come into the game with no injury troubles at all. Pep Guardiola has gone with a 4-2-3-1 for this game. Edison's in goal, Kyle Walker, John Stones, Nathan Ake, who's making his first Champions League start at the Etihad, and Alexander Zinchenko is in defence. In midfield, Kevin De Bruyne, Ake Gundogan, who scored in both of Manchester City's last 2 games, Riyad Mahrez, Phil Foden, Raheem Sterling fill out the midfield, and up front on his own is 20-year-old Ferran Torres, who has also scored in the last 2 games for Manchester City. Olympiacos, as I said, no injury troubles. Pedro Martins lines up with a 4-3-3. The team is full of familiar faces for Premier League fans. Jose Sarr is in goal. Brazilian fullback and Bayern Munich legend Rafinha is at right back. Cisse and Ruben Semedo fill out the defence, with Jose Holebas at left wing, formerly of Watford. Jan Mvia, the former Sunderland midfielder, as well as Izzy Kamara and Bouchalakias fill out the midfield. Radaklovic, El Arabi, who has scored 6 in his last 7, and Matthew Valbuena, the former Marseille winger, fill out the Greek team. Kickoff is at 8 p.m.
Thank you very much, Matt. So, Atalanta at home against Liverpool, Manchester City at home against Olympiacos. There's also an interesting looking game at an 8 o'clock kickoff in Group A. That's Red Bull Salzburg hosting Bayern Munich, of course, the champions of Europe as we speak. At the Red Bull Arena is Tom Creswell.
Hi, Will. Thank you. Salzburg have made 9 changes to the team that put 5 past Athens at the weekend. Only Zlatko Junusovic and Dominik Szoboszlai keep their spots in the team. All changes otherwise. Stankovic returns in goal. Christensen, Ramalho, Verba and Ulmer all at the back. 4 in midfield rather. Mwepu, Kamara and the aforementioned Junusovic and Szoboszlai. 2 up front in Berisha and Koita. The reigning European champions Bayern make 4 changes to the team that beat Cologne at the weekend. Lewandowski, Boateng, Tolisso and Koeman all return. Otherwise, it's mostly just business as usual for Bayern. Neuer in goal, Pavard at right back, centre-back pairing of Boateng and Hernandez, left-back Alaba, 2 holding midfielders, Tolisso and Kimmich, 3 just in front of them, the Koeman, Muller and Gnabry all together, and then the lone striker, Lewandowski. Kickoff in just about 35 minutes.
Tom Creswell keeping us across what's going on there at the Red Bull Arena. Also in an 8 o'clock kickoff in Group B in the UEFA Champions League this evening is Real Madrid against Inter Milan. That's at the Stadio Bernabeu. Cameron Summers is watching for us.
Thank you, Will. And as you said, we're here under the lights at the Bernabeu tonight for what could prove to be a pivotal match in Group B, with Real Madrid hosting Inter Milan. Both sides have struggled thus far in Europe and will be hoping for an uptick in form to keep their qualification hopes alive. From the 2 teams that played last week's ties, there have only been 2 changes, but 2 major changes indeed, with Eden Hazard finally back fit and firing for Madrid in the league and straight into their Champions League lineup, coming in for Vinicius Jr. Change for it could also be massive for Inter, with Romelu Lukaku failing to make the squad owing to a muscle injury and being replaced by Ivan Perisic. Lukaku having scored Inter's only goals in Europe this season, he could prove to be a big miss for Antonio Conte's side.
Thank you very much there to Cameron Summers, keeping an eye on Real Madrid against Inter Milan. Just to update you, incidentally, there's already been 5 goals in the game between Plymouth and Swindon at Home Park. It's now Plymouth 3, Swindon 2. That was a 7 o'clock kickoff in League One. In our featured games, Brentford against Swansea and Huddersfield against Bristol City, still goalless. No goals, in fact, anywhere in the Championship tonight. It seems that most of them are down there in the southwest. That crazy game between Plymouth and Swindon. A full update in a moment or so. Back to the UEFA Champions League, though. In Group C this evening, we've already spoken about Manchester City against Olympiacos. Also in that same group, Porto are entertaining Marseille at the Stadio de Drago. Jack Merkovich is watching this one for Solent Sports News.
Good evening, Will. FC Porto meet Marseille in Group C. 2 changes for the hosts. Malang Sarr, the Chelsea loanee, comes in for Pepe. Luis Diaz replaces Vieira in a 4-3-3 formation as Sergio Conceição's side look to seal a top 2 berth, especially in a group with Manchester City. This is a game that both sides will want to target. Marseille line up in a 4-4-2. Benedetto has come in for Radionjic and Payet for Cuisance. Morgan Sanson has made a late change and come in for Bellerdi for the visitors. Incidentally, in Marseille's last 5 UEFA Champions League away group games, there has been a goal scored in the opening 25 minutes. So hopefully we can expect some goal mouth action early on here at the Estadio do Dragão.
Brilliant. Thank you very much to Jack. Let's keep our fingers crossed for some early goals in that match then. We mentioned earlier, didn't we, that Liverpool are away in northern Italy playing Atalanta. Also in that same group, Ajax are away at FC Midtjylland in Denmark at the MCH Arena. Watching for Solent Sports News is Luke Robinson.
Yes, well, Will, one thing we all expected when I rocked up to the MCH Arena this evening was for Ajax to have many absentees. It was reported as late as yesterday that Ajax would only bring a squad of 17 with 11 players having tested positive for coronavirus. There was some umming and ahhing about whether UEFA European legislation would allow the tested positive players to play in the game. And the team news has really hit everyone for 6 because we all assumed players such as Andre Onana, Dusan Tadic to not be featuring, and yet they're starting. The Ajax team is Andre Onana in goal, a back 4 of Majwawi, Schurz, Blind and Taliafico, a midfield 3 of Ellenkamp, Martinez, Gravenbach, and a front 3 of Anthony, Dusan Tadic and Quincy Promes. Midtjylland line up as this: in goal Anderson, the back 4 of Anderson, Schiavenko, Schultz and Paulinho, Shincho and Kajust in midfield, Dreyer, Sisto and Mabil as the front 3 with Kaba up front.
In another 8 o'clock kickoff in Denmark. Thank you very much there to Luke Robinson. Okay, so one other score, incidentally, just to mention to you. A goal has just gone in the Champions League tonight in one of the group stage matches between Shakhtar and Borussia Mönchengladbach. Told you a few moments ago, didn't I, that Gladbach were 5-0 up. They're now 6-0 up. It's Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Borussia Mönchengladbach 6. There's also a goal gone in the game in League 2 between Cambridge and Salford. Salford lead that now by a 1-0. And also Forest Green Rovers have taken the lead against Leyton Orient. It's Forest Green 1, Leyton Orient 0. Okay, welcome along. If you're just tuning in, Solent Sports News Live. It's a midweek special. We've got reporters up and down the country. Keep an eye on the UEFA Champions League, the Championship, the Sky Bet League 1 and League 2. We're also keeping an update on what's going on in the Sussex County Senior Cup game. And also, of course, don't forget, we mentioned at the top of the programme, it's snooker. And that's where we're going now, to Wes Spearman, who's watching the second quarter-final between Trump and Trump, name of course jumps out of my head, Trump and Gilbert at the stadium in MK. Watching then is Wes Spearman. Wes?
Yes, Judd Trump took the opening frame with a century score. But here in the second frame, currently going, David Gilbert with a break of 43 at the moment. There was an intriguing safety battle to start the frame after the Reds split all over the table. With not many easy pots available to either player. But David Gilbert leading this one, and just on the yellow here, he should pot this very easily. Only 5 reds, left in play, so 75 points remaining on the table. So 3 more reds and 3 more colours, and David Gilbert should be able to wrap this frame up quite easily.
Thank you very much, Wes. So as and when that comes towards a conclusion, we'll be back to Wes Spearman there in Milton Keynes. Okay, let's take another update then from the Championship, the Sky Bet Championship. This was a 7 o'clock kickoff. Brentford entertaining Swansea at the Brentford Community Stadium. Billy Taylor, what's the latest?
Yes, well, it's still 0-0 here in West London. Before I mentioned to you when you last came to me that it looked like Brentford were the team who had just edged proceedings, but Swansea certainly came back and created a few chances themselves. Andre Ayew has got in behind the Brentford defence on a couple of occasions now, testing David Raya on one of those times. Obviously, Ayew, Swansea's top goal scorer last season, scoring 15 championship goals, and he's already got 4 so far this campaign. Thomas Frank wasn't happy with his side's defending at all. He came out, was patrolling his touchline. Brentford looked very open at the back. Those orders from Frank, though, look to have just worked, with Brentford just gaining control back of the game. We've got Half an hour has been played so far at the Brentford Community Stadium, and it is still Brentford 0, Swansea City 0.
Lovely stuff. Thanks very much, Billy. Okay, also in a 7 o'clock kickoff, Huddersfield entertaining Bristol City at the John Smith Stadium. Henry Buxton.
Yeah, the hosts are having the better half of the stats here. Most of the possession, most of the shots. Still, the only shot on target came from Pieper about 15 minutes ago. Bristol City have just come back into it in the last 2-3 minutes, but Huddersfield Town definitely on top here. It's still 0-0.
Thank you very much to Henry. A couple of updates from elsewhere. Bradford City now beating Southend by 2-0 in League Two. Things really not good, looking good for Southend already this season. Can't buy a win, can they, let alone a goal? And they're trailing, half an hour or so into that match. Charlton also beating Fleetwood by the same scoreline. Charlton 2, Fleetwood 0. And Oxford United have just taken the lead against Rochdale. It's Oxford 1, Rochdale 0. Goals as they go in along. Solent Sports News Live tonight. It's a midweek special. We've got some 7 o'clock kickoffs, 7:45s in the Championship and indeed in Sky Bet League One, as well as the Sussex County Senior Cup, and then those UEFA Champions League matches at 8 o'clock. Let's turn our attentions then to what's going on against Blackburn against Middlesbrough. It's a 7:45 kickoff, but Regan Valley, would it be fair to say that this is quite a difficult one to call in terms of favourites for 3 points potentially Ewood Park?
Yes, I definitely most say so. Blackburn Rovers, who got off to a fantastic start to the season after beating Wycombe Wanderers 5-0 and also Derby 4-0. They sort of trailed off here. They've only won one of their last 6 games and losing 4 of them. Most recently, a 4-2 loss to the current leaders, Reading, as well as a 2-0 loss on the weekend to Swansea. They're going to have to rely on these attacking outlets such as Gallagher and Tyree Stone, and possibly why Tony Mowbray has gone very attacking to start off with. But like you said, Middlesbrough, also one of the most informed teams in the league. They only lost once. The only other team to do that, and less, is Bournemouth. But Middlesbrough is most definitely the most informed team in the league. They've not lost in 8. And they only lost once at the first day of the season, losing 1-0 to Watford. And they've also mounted 4 wins since then, the last 2 in a row against Coventry, and a surprising win against Nottingham Forest. Neil Warnock has only conceded 5 goals, his Middlesbrough team so far. That's the lowest in the league so far. And Blackburn have also scored the second most, is one of the best defenders in the league against the best attackers in the league, and it's very hard to call indeed.
But of course, if any goals go in, we'll be all over that particular match in a 7:45 kickoff. Well, we're talking about Neil Warnock there. Of course, one of his former teams, Cardiff, entertaining Barnsley tonight at the Cardiff City Stadium. And Ethan Evans, Cardiff lost 4 this season, but only one of the last 6. So would you have them down as slight favourites?
If you've just on the basis of form, I think you'd probably say Barnsley, because they've really picked up ever since then the new manager took over. But both sides have suffered big injuries to important players. The Tykes are without their top goal scorer, Corey Woodrow, this evening, so it'd be interesting to see how they do get on without him. And goals have been hard to come by as well at times for Cardiff City. But with Kiefer Moore notching their most goals with 4 this season and the return of Harry Wilson from injury, their attacking potency could cause Barnsley a few issues tonight. I think Cardiff may just edge it, but I wouldn't be surprised if the spoils are shared in Wales tonight.
Well, of course, time will tell on that one. Thank you very much to Ethan. If any goals go in, we will let you know. Now, we also mentioned, didn't we, that there's a rather special fixture going on at New Plough Lane tonight, where AFC Wimbledon are hosting Doncaster Rovers. 4 defeats so far this season for AFC Wimbledon. Only 1 win in their last 9 home league games, Rosie Russell. But this might be a little bit different tonight. They'll certainly be looking to start the new routine at the new stadium with a victory.
Yes, they definitely will. It does look like Doncaster could be the more promising team here. They're sitting in a better position in the table, sat in 8th place with a game in hand. But Wimbledon have been dominant the last time these 2 teams met on their last 2 previous meetings. Wimbledon have won both of those games. So they'll be looking to keep that on the run, especially in their new stadium. However, Doncaster Rovers did lose their last game on Saturday against, no, they didn't, beg your pardon. They won their last game on Saturday against Lincoln City, but they did lose the week before against 15th place Crewe Alexander. So they are still on a rocky form as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I think that actually Doncaster will have quite a game against them with the new stadium, and Wimbledon's hopes up high.
Thank you very much, Rosie Russell. We're also keeping our eye on what's going on between Northampton and MK Dons at Sixfields Stadium. Our man there is Ben Burgess. And Ben, back in League Two for Northampton after 2 seasons in League Two, winning the playoffs final, of course, last year 4-0 against Exeter. Struggling to adapt to life back in League One, or how do you see it going tonight?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Northampton struggling back at the level in League One, of course. They did lose their key man from last season, Charlie Good, who had such a key role in the heart of their defence, and that's been pretty clear so far at the start of the season. They conceded the most goals in League One, 20 all in all. So they really are shipping a few goals at the back. MK Dons, they go into this game clear favourites, the away side. Russell Martin, he acquired a couple of really high-profile names over the summer. Richard Keogh, who, of course, spent so many years at Derby in the heart of their defence. Also, Cameron Jerome up top. And what's really interesting is the formation that Russell Martin has MK Dons playing, a 3-5-2 formation, packing the midfield, and that's been clear so far. They've had over 60% possession in every single one of their league games so far this season. So they'll have a lot of the ball tonight and expect them to come out of the blocks dominating in the early stages. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes tonight. Northampton arguably facing an uphill task. Kickoff, as you say, 7:45.
Thanks very much there to Ben. We'll be going to Henry Deacon and the Sussex County Senior Cup a few minutes before kickoff there in a moment or so. But we have a goal at the Brentford Community Stadium, the first of the evening in our featured games. Which way has it gone, Billy Taylor?
Yes, Will, it is now Brentford 1, Swansea City 0. And if I was a betting man, there's only one man you'd bet on to score in this game, and it is Ivan Toney, the Championship's top scorer. That is now 10 in 8 for him and 10 overall for the season. It came about by some great midfield play by Josh Da Silva. He released Brian and Mbuemo into the box, and Mbuemo waited. This time he stood up the Swansea defence. Matthias Jensen from midfield came in, overlapped, played a ball across the box, and Toney was there to score that goal he scores ever so often and tap in to an empty net. It is 37 minutes gone here at the Brentford Community Stadium, and it is Brentford 1, Swansea City 0.
Thank you very much, Billy. Who needs a BMW like they had last season when they've got an Audi TT? Ivan Toney doing the business for the Bees so far this season. What a shrewd signing he was from Peterborough in the summer. Yet another off the production line. Okay, let's go to the Sussex County Senior Cup. Last few minutes before kickoff at the Nye Camp. Bognor Regis Town hosting Burgess Hill Town. There for us is Henry Deacon. Henry.
Well, you picked your timing perfectly, Will, because Bognor just made their way onto the field of play. We've got some team news now. Bognor gone very strong. 3 ex-Havant players in the starting 11. Jake Flanagan, Joe Cook and Brad Ledbridge. The 2 Lee brothers who are the rave around town, both in their early 20s. Tommy starts, Ashton's on the bench, whilst at Burgess Hill, it's an unchanged lineup from their 4-1 victory in the FA Trophy on Saturday. You can hear the strains of We Will Rock You by Queen. It'll be the last time the Rocks will be in action for the next month or so. Speaking to one or two of the officials here at Nywood Lane this evening, it's a bigger than expected crowd for this one, for the Sussex Senior Cup. Burgess Hill just making their way out. Kickoff is coming up very shortly.
Thank you very much to Henry Deacon. Goals as they go in, of course, around the country, up and down in our 7:45 and indeed in our 7 o'clock kickoffs. We'll keep you up to date right here on Solent Sports News Live. It's a midweek special. We'll be going to and spending a little bit more time talking about the Champions League games. They'll be kicking off in around about 15 or 16 minutes from now. We'll be going there in a moment or so. But let me just update you in what's been going on up and down the country. We mentioned, didn't we, in a whole host of different games kicking off at different times. No fans, of course, in any of the matches tonight, with the exception of that Sussex County Senior Cup game. But Oxford United won, Rochdale won. So Rochdale have got a goal back in that match. And also Leyton Orient have drawn level against Forest Green. That's now Forest Green Rovers 1, Leyton Orient 1. In fact, just as I say that, another goal's gone in. Bradford City, who were beating Southend United by 2-0 approaching half-time, have now scored a third. Really not looking good for Southend United, is it? A dreadful start to the season, and at the moment is only getting worse. Okay, as I mentioned, plenty of games going on in the UEFA Champions League tonight. In the earlier kickoffs, incidentally, Lokomotiv Moscow approaching added time are 1-1 with Atletico Madrid, and it's just finished in Ukraine. Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Borussia Mönchengladbach 6. They were 6 o'clock kickoffs. However, in the games that we're featuring tonight here on Solent Sports News Live, let's go back to Northern Italy and catch up with Jack Mayo, who's at the Gaywood Stadium, keeping an eye on Atalanta against Liverpool in Group D. On the face of it, Jack, you'd have said that, Liverpool, top of the Premier League, doing so well in the Champions League last season as well, obviously winning it the season before. People would think that Liverpool would be favourites, but Atalanta at home, particularly in the last couple of seasons, a tough nut to crack, Jack.
Yes, very much so, Will. They are a force to be reckoned with and nothing to be taken lightly. Just on her form with Atalanta this season in particular, they're fourth in the Serie A, level on points with Juventus. They are unbeaten in the Champions League so far with a 4-0 win against Midtjylland and a 2-2 draw with Ajax. They've only lost twice in the Serie A this season, and they're also unbeaten in their last 4 games in all competitions. As for Liverpool, like you say, they are currently top of the Premier League and Premier League champions. They have a 100% record in the Champions League thus far with 2 wins. But they are also unbeaten in their last 4 in all competitions, with a few injuries, but they have managed to power through them with the injuries to Van Dijk and Alisson, who's obviously come back now. I forgot to mention earlier that Joel Matip is on the bench tonight, who has also returned from injury tonight. Kick off in around 15 minutes.
Thank you very much to Jack. We'll continue our look at the Champions League games in a moment or so. However, we've got another goal in the Championship tonight, a goal at Huddersfield, in fact, between Huddersfield and Bristol City. Which way has it gone, Henry Buxton?
It's a goal for the home side. Huddersfield Town are 1-0 up. It was smashed in by Josh Koroma, but the assist from Isaac Mbenza was absolutely phenomenal. He's running down the wing, gets it right through the defenders, and Josh Koroma smashes it right into the top corner from close range. Very satisfying. It's Huddersfield 1, Bristol City 0 with about a minute to go.
Until half-time. Thank you very much there to Henry. Just update you on 1 or 2 other scores. It's now Cambridge United 1, Salford 1. Salford did take the lead in that match. They're now level at Cambridge. Mentioned that Borussia Mönchengladbach game had finished. That ended Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Borussia Mönchengladbach 6. Also, Bristol Rovers have gone a goal down to Peterborough. We mentioned Ivan Toney, didn't we? But Peterborough very much amongst the goals tonight. And that particular goal has gone to Taylor 3 minutes before half time. And then also Oldham have now moved 2-1 ahead against Cheltenham Town. That also a 7 o'clock kickoff. Okay, back to the Champions League then. We've spoken about Atalanta against Liverpool. Talking of British teams, Manchester City are at home in Group C in an 8 o'clock kickoff against Olympiacos. Matt Ryan watching that one for us. And Manchester City, well, they're struggling to deceive a little bit, aren't they, Matt, in the Premier League? But an opportunity to cast off those shackles in the Champions League tonight.
Yes, definitely will. Manchester City fans will be a bit confused this season. Every lineup seems different, but Pep Guardiola seems to finally have found a sort of connection up front with Ferran Torres, who's been a fantastic signing since coming in from Valencia. Just so you know, this game is kind of a milestone game in Manchester tonight. It's the first time these two sides have ever faced each other, but Manchester City have no remorse here. They are going with a very, very strong lineup. Fans would have been hoping for maybe a few rotation sides, maybe a chance for goalkeeper Zach Steffen to have a go. But it looks like Pep Guardiola really wants these 3 points so he can continue his unbeaten run in the Champions League. They've won against Marseille, 1-0. Sorry, no, that's the wrong result. They won against Porto, 3-1 at home, and then they travelled to Marseille and won 3-0 at the Orange Velodrome. Olympiacos won their first game against Marseille, also 1-0. and then they lost to Porto when they travelled away. But this is a chance for both sides to pick up vital points.
Well, let's see what happens in that game kicking off in around about 12 minutes from now. Well, we're talking about the dominance of teams, in whether it was in the league or indeed in cup competitions. It doesn't seem to make much difference who they play and what they do. Bayern Munich are certainly a force in German football, the current European champions as well. They're away at RB Salzburg at the RB Arena. Tom Creswell watching that for us tonight. And Tom, you'd have to look a long way, wouldn't you, to see anything other than a Bayern win?
Yeah, I think so. With the way that Bayern have started their league, yes, they're only joint on points with Dortmund, but they have 11 more goals than any other team in the Bundesliga. Lewandowski has 10 goals from 6 games. He's 4 clear of Andre Kramaric in second. However, he's yet to score in the Champions League for Bayern Munich. Goretzka and Coman both have 2 each, but Lewandowski yet to register a goal as of yet. But you look at Salzburg, they're also top of their league. They're 4 points clear of the Austrian Bundesliga. However, they are bottom of the group, only just the 1 point from their 2 matches so far. However, after 6 games in their league, they have a goal difference of 20, which is fantastic, really. Both of their top scorers are the league top goal scorers. Only one of them starts tonight. Sekou Koita is starting up front. But Szoboszlai, the young wonder kid, many are dubbing him, is the top scorer for them in the Champions League so far. Just the 2 goals as well. Kickoff in just over 10 minutes.
Thank you very much there to Tom. Any goals going on at the RB Arena? And we'll bring it to you here on Solent Sports News Live. Welcome along. It's 10 to 8 on a Tuesday night. If you're just joining us, thanks for your company. Thanks for being here. We're keeping an eye on a whole host of Champions League games, Sky Bet Championship, Sky Bet League 1 and League 2, and also the Sussex County Senior Cup. We've got reporters around the grounds and we'll tell you the goals as they go in. Okay, now Real Madrid are entertaining Inter at the Estadio Bernabeu tonight. Watching that for us is Cameron Summers. And Cameron, Real Madrid, I guess, will be really hoping to get a win tonight after struggling, perhaps unsurprised, or a little bit surprisingly, in their opening game.
Yes, definitely will. Madrid are flattered to deceive in Europe this season, with Zidane coming under a lot of pressure after draws at Mönchengladbach and a surprise loss to a coronavirus-hit Shakhtar side in the opening match day. But the return of Eden Hazard could prove vital for Zidane, as the Belgian looks to kick on this season following a long injury layoff and come up big for Madrid. But Inter will be hoping to spoil this. Antonio Conte's side will look to spoil the party as they return to the Bernabeu for the first time since their historic victory over Bayern Munich in the 2010 final that capped off a famous treble for the Neruzzi.
Thank you very much there to Cameron. We've got a goal in the Championship. That goal in the game between Cardiff and Barnsley. Ethan Evans, which way has it gone?
Yes, Will, it's a goal for Cardiff City and it's Junior Hoylett, his 50th goal for the club. It was a set piece from the Bluebirds on the left-hand side, whipped in, and Junior Hoylett chested it down and smacked the ball in the bottom left-hand corner. It's been a relatively quick start by Barnsley. They were pressing every opposition touch, but they were a bit lacklustre in their defending then, and Cardiff took advantage, 1-0.
Thank you very much there to Ethan. We've got half times at the games, in the 7 o'clock games between Brentford and Swansea and Huddersfield and Bristol City. We'll be going to our reporters, Billy Taylor and Henry Buxton, in a moment or so. Let's just continue with the Champions League previews, though. And in Group C, in an 8 o'clock kickoff, Porto are entertaining Marseille. 2 sides who will clearly be hoping to win tonight, Jack Mirkovic, but 2 sides which on their day can surprise anyone in Europe.
Yes, I mentioned earlier the fact that Manchester City are in this group and are clear favourites to progress as group winners. It's a real chance for both sides here in Portugal to prove a point as such and collect 3 points. Porto have won, incidentally, 3 times in 4 head-to-head group stage meetings with Marseille. And Andre Villas-Boas' side, the former Tottenham and Zenit head coach, comes here with a point to prove for the visitors. Quite dismal start to their league season. And Marseille have now sustained 11 consecutive defeats in the Champions League after their 3-0 defeat to Man City last time out, and have failed to score before half-time in each of their 7 European away games versus Portuguese opposition. And to make matters worse, Porto have lost just 2 of their last 12 Champions League games against French sides. Kickoff around 7 minutes time, 8 o'clock here. Porto against Marseille in Group C.
Thanks very much, Jack. Yes, it looks like a home win, doesn't it? But that's, of course, the joy of the Champions League. Any result is possible. But for those of you that are old enough to remember when Porto got all the way to the Champions League final and won it under a rookie manager just into his early 40s, a man that went by the name of Jose Mourinho. Of course, plenty of water gone under the bridge since then, plenty of trophies in his own personal trophy cabinet. Okay, the last game that we're focusing, certainly as far as Solent Sports News Live is concerned, FC Midtjylland are playing Ajax in Denmark at the MCH Arena. Watching that for us is Luke Robinson. And Luke, it seems like a long time ago, but actually it was only the season before last that Ajax stunned the European world. Can they do something similar this season, do you think?
They certainly can, Will. They come into this game on good form. They enter this match off the back of a 5-2 win over Fortuna Sittard in the league on Saturday, which has left them top of the Eredivisie with 18 points to show from the 7 matches they've played. Although they are yet to ignite their Champions League campaign this season. So far, they've lost 1-0 to Liverpool and drew 2-2 with Atalanta, and they currently sit 3rd in their group on 1 point. Midtjylland have made a disappointing start to that campaign. They're yet to pick up a point. They suffered a 4-0 home defeat to Atalanta earlier in October before losing 2-0 away to Liverpool last week. They are not in particularly good form as well. They had a hammer blow after losing to Nordsjælland in the league 4-1 on Sunday.
Thank you very much to Luke. Okay, let's take in a couple of half times then. We mentioned that it was half time between Brentford and Swansea City at the Brentford Community Stadium. The man who's watched the first half and keeping his eye on what's going on between the Bees and the Swans is Billy Taylor. Billy.
Yes, half-time here at the Brentford Community Stadium. Brentford 1, Swansea City 0. Ivan Toney with his 10th goal of the season, doing his record of being the highest scorer in England's top 4 divisions this year. No harm at all. Swansea edged the first half in terms of chances, but Brentford have applied their game plan well. They've looked since the losses of club captain Pontus Jansson and midfield dynamo Christian Norgard to injury, who are out for a couple more weeks yet. They have looked to sit back against teams and open up at the right times. That's exactly what they did. Swansea, obviously, Andre Ayew got in behind the defence a couple of times, but it was Brentford who scored the goal when Brian Mbeumo broke through the defence after a Josh Silva pass, laid it off to Matthias Jensen, and his cross of goal pass found Ivan Toney to tap into an open net. Thomas Frank got the better of Steve Cooper in 3 out of 4 meetings last season. Of course, in the playoff semi-finals too. Cooper will need to change something for his side to get back on level terms, because they look to be struggling at the moment since Brentford took the lead. It is Brentford 1, Swansea City 0 here in West London.
Thank you very much to Billy. So looking good for the Bees at the moment. How is it looking at the end of the first half for the Terriers? Huddersfield are entertaining Bristol City at the John Smith Stadium tonight. Henry Buxton with this halftime report.
Yeah, it's looking good for the Terriers, as you said, Will. Very much dominating the statistics. It was quite an uneventful first half, really, despite the goal. It was looking to be quite a boring 0-0. There was quite a fast-paced, aggressive start from both sides. It was fouls, tackles flying in everywhere, but they are proving themselves, Huddersfield Town, and they've proved that by going into the break a goal to the good. Half-time, 1-0 to Huddersfield Town.
Thank you very much there to Henry. Just 1 or 2 games just to tell you about that have finished. Oldham have beaten Cheltenham by 2-1. Shrewsbury have beaten Burton by... it's ended Shrewsbury 1, Burton 1. I do beg your pardon. That was after a very last or almost last minute goal. I think it was the 98th minute, well into added time anyway. Shrewsbury equalised to make it 1-1. Just to give you a quick rundown of what's been going on in some of the other games up and down the country. A couple of full-time results. Lokomotiv Moscow 1, Atletico Madrid 1 in the Champions League. It's also ended Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Borussia Mönchengladbach 6. We've heard that at half-time Brentford won Swansea 0 in the Sky Bet Championship. Also Huddersfield won Bristol City 0. It's also goalless between, it's also half-time, I beg your pardon, between Norwich City and Millwall, and Sheffield Wednesday and Bournemouth. They are 0-0. We've told you about the goal at the Cardiff City Stadium. Cardiff currently beating Barnsley by a 1-0. It's also currently Blackburn 0 and Middlesbrough 0 in the Championship. Okay, let's have a look at what's going on in League. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Let's go and find out what's been going on in those Championship games then between Blackburn and Cardiff. So Blackburn and Middlesbrough, I do beg your pardon. At Ewood Park is our man Regan Valley. Regan.
Yes, just 10 minutes gone here, and the two very good chances for either side, and just the opening stages here, just 18 seconds on the clock, and Middlesbrough had a great chance. Brita Sombalonga missing a cross at the end, and it's deflected corner here, and the corner came in, and it was Howson tapping in, went straight at Ainsley Pearce in the net, and straight up the other end, only 5 minutes later, Sam Gallagher, almost a free header straight into the arms of the Middlesbrough keeper on loan from Fulham, Marcus Bettinelli, after a good cross by Niambe. But just 10 minutes gone here, very cagey affair so far. Blackburn wearing down Middlesbrough with high possession, trying to find a way in. But at the moment, Middlesbrough have a dangerous corner here, and they almost scored from the first one with the second corner of the game. It could be a way in for Middlesbrough, because at the moment, it could go either way.
Thank you very much to Regan. Let's catch up then again with Ethan briefly at the Cardiff City Stadium. Last time we heard, Cardiff were beating Barnsley by a 1-0, Ethan.
Yes, well, Bluebirds fans will be sat at home ecstatic that they're ahead, as they would have been a bit afraid at the start of the game that the start that Barnsley made. But obviously, Junior Hoylett repaying the faith put into him by manager Neil Harris, returned to the lineup in a smart finish from the Canadian for his 50th goal. With the creative Harry Wilson, who Bluebirds fans again will be glad that he's back in the side. He's very creative, and his set piece was fantastic for Hoylett to finish. Cardiff stuck defenders 2 banks of 4 at the moment, as Barnsley continue to press every Bluebird touch. 14 minutes gone at the moment here at the Cardiff City Stadium. Cardiff City 1, Barnsley 0.
Thank you very much to Ethan. Okay, let's drop down to Sky Bet League One then. Plenty of action in both League One and League Two tonight. There's a big old game though at the new Plough Lane. AFC Wimbledon are entertaining Doncaster. The opening 15 minutes or so, Rosie, what's been going on there?
Well, really, to start with, it was a Doncaster kickabout. They are very dominant, and they were just having the ball in their final third, kicking it about, but nothing came from it. It was quite a boring start, really. But Wimbledon are getting back into the game. They've had a free kick, but it was cleared, and they're just starting to get their momentum and get back into it. Doncaster's Whiteman did have a shot, but it went way above the goal, so nothing came of that. So, yeah, we'll see how we get on, but we're 12 minutes in, and Doncaster Rovers 0, Wimbledon 0.
Thank you very much there to Rosie. The other game that we're keeping an eye on in Sky Bet League One is Northampton, who are entertaining MK Dons at the Sixfield Stadium. Here's Ben Burgess.
Thanks, Will. Certainly a cagey affair in the opening, 15 minutes in this game. As I said before kickoff, MK Dons, they love to knock the ball about and keep possession, and that's certainly been the case so far. But you've got to say, for all their possession, not really created any moments of note. And you can see why they've only won 2 games out of their first 10 in League One, despite having over 60% possession in every single one of those games so far this season. Northampton probably had the better of the openings. Harry Smith up front for the home side, causing all sorts of problems in the opening 2 or 3 minutes. He managed to get on to the end of a couple of crosses, but didn't actually manage to divert his efforts on target. 15 and a half minutes gone here at Sixfields, and it's Northampton 0, MK Dons 0.
Thank you very much, Ben. Looks like it's a big jacket sort of night there at Northampton. Is it a big jacket sort of night also down on the south coast in the Sussex County Senior Cup? Henry Deacons watching Bognor Regis Town against Burgess Hill Town at the Nycamp. How have the opening 15-16 minutes gone, Henry?
Been an interesting affair, actually. Bognor have had a couple of chances. Mungoy and Lee with the opportunities. Lee from a free kick, which went just past the post. Whilst Burgess Hill have had 1 or 2 tempting opportunities. It's just been the service that's let them down. It's been as poor, really, as the 3G hotspot I've got here at Nywood Lane. But they're on the attack at the moment. Ball's floated out of play. We played 17 minutes here. Bognor 0, Burgess Hill 0.
Thank you very much to Henry. Great to see fans in the background there in the Sussex County Senior Cup tonight. Well, there will be fans hopefully back at football matches up and down the country before we know it. There are some sporadic fans, of course, in European games as well. Not a whole host of fans, it's got to be said, in most of the top Champions League matches. But let's go and check out the early stages in Group D in northern Italy between Atalanta and Liverpool at the Gaywood Stadium. Here's Jack Mayo.
Yeah, we are just over 2.5 minutes in here. Well, there was a chance for Diogo Jota, the man in form, actually a minute and a half in. He managed to skip by the defenders on his left foot and just couldn't get it past Atalanta goalkeeper. But the opening 3 minutes have been a very cagey affair, to say. There's been a lot of possession for both sides, with just feeling the teams out, and just both teams looking to see how the other is playing tactically and seeing how they can get on with it. Still 0-0 here, Will.
Thank you, Jack. Early stages also in the game in Group D between FC Midtjylland and Ajax. But I believe, Luke Robinson, you have a goal to tell us about.
Indeed, I do, Will. It almost happened instantly. Quincy Promes got the ball passed to him out on the left-hand side. He jinked, he jived, he found his way into the box. He cut it back to Dusan Tadic, who played a lovely ball across the 6-yard box to the Brazilian Anthony, who just tapped it in. It really was... They made it look easily. Really poor defending from Midtjylland, and straight away the momentum's on Ajax side. 1-0 to Ajax.
Perhaps unsurprisingly, Ajax taking the lead there in Denmark against FC Midtjylland in Group D. In Group C, Manchester City are entertaining Olympiacos at the Etihad Stadium. How have the first 4 or 5 minutes been going for you, Matt Ryan?
Thanks, Will. It's been, as you would expect, mainly Manchester City possession here. I think formation-wise, Manchester City are actually going with Raheem Sterling up top today. I thought it would be Torres, considering he played there the last 2 games. But Sterling seems to be playing down the middle with Foden on the left behind him, and then Torres slightly ahead of him. It's been very controlled possession. What else would you expect from a Pep Guardiola side? Thanks, you. It's still 0-0.
Thank you very much. We do, however, have a goal in the game between Porto and Marseille. Porto pretty solid at home. Are they solid at home tonight, Jack Mirkovic?
They are. Porto 1, Marseille 0, and we were talking about Marseille's last 5 away games in the Champions League having a goal before 25 minutes. We've had one in 4, Will. It's Marega with the goal. Great jinking run from Jesus Corona down the left-hand side after poor play from Jordan Amavi in the Marseille back line. Andre Villas-Boas he just wants to get out of Portugal. No goals for Marseille, no points. Dismal start. Porto 1, Marseille 0. 5.5 minutes played there.
Looks like the Champions League points might be staying in northern Portugal. However, we may, although it's early stages, may have an upset on the cards in Group A. Bayern Munich are away at RB Salzburg, and we were talking beforehand, Tom Croswell, that it was only going to be a matter of time before Bayern added to their fantastic scoring run so far this season. Have they scored again?
No, in fact, it's the hosts that have scored. It's 1-0 Salzburg already after just 5 minutes of play. It's Mergin Berisha who scored the opening goal. Got a lucky rebound off a shot, which he had just on the edge of the area. Fell to him nicely just outside the 6-yard box. And with absolutely no thought of direction, he's just absolutely levelled it past Manuel Neuer in goal. Had an earlier effort, which led to a corner, already showing the danger signs, but absolutely no marking from Pavard at right back. After just 5 minutes, Salzburg 1, Bayern Munich 0.
A potential shock on the cards there at the Red Bull Arena between Salzburg and Bayern Munich. Fascinating scores up and down the land today. Okay, a few other things to tell you about. Cambridge United have scored against Salford. They're currently leading by 2-1. And also Pompey have doubled their league in League One away at Lincoln City. It's Lincoln 0, Pompey 2. Also Ipswich have just scored, just equalised in fact. Sunderland 1, Ipswich 1 in the Sky Bet in League One, I do beg your pardon. Okay, now we're going to be going to the Champion of Champions snooker to find out how things have been going on between Judd and Gilbert in a moment or so. But back to League One, and I think we have the first goal at the new Plough Lane Stadium. Is that the case, Rosie Russell?
We do indeed, and what a way for Wimbledon to get underway. They came out of nowhere, really. They were being quite submissive. Out of nowhere, they've scored the goal. It was Joe Pigott who got the goal for them. That's his 5th goal this season. Nice ball from Nightingale, straight into the box. Pigott was there, to the left of the keeper and in. No problems there for Wimbledon. So AFC Wimbledon 1, Doncaster Rovers 0, and we're 20 minutes in.
Well, there you are. Joe Pigott has written his name in history, the first goal scorer at the new Plough Lane. Something to tell his grandkids about, no doubt. Okay, let's catch up then with Wes Spearman. He's in Milton Keynes. He's keeping an eye on the second quarter-final in the Champion of Champions snooker tournament between Trump and Gilbert. How's it been going, Wes?
Oh, it's going very well for the world number 12, David Gilbert, a part-time potato farmer. He's won 2 frames on the trot now, an opening break of 52 in the 3rd frame. And it all got a little bit messy with Trump coming back with a break of 46. Then Trump decided to look at snooker, try and put Gilbert under a bit of pressure. And it did work. He did foul on the red on the top left corner pocket once, but brought it back as Trump messed up a clearance to put himself ahead to 2-1. Gilbert cleared up. Trump missing a pink, a very easy pink into the top left corner pocket. Gilbert cleaning up the pink and the black to see him win the frame by just 1 point, 68 to 67 against Judd Trump. But for now, David Gilbert 2, Judd Trump 1.
Thank you very much there to Wes. So they're in the 4th frame, best of 11 in that quarter-final tonight. Just to remind you, Gilbert got there by beating Murphy 4-2 earlier today in a best of 7. Trump also got there by routing Bingham, in fact, 4 frames to 0. So that's some interesting stuff going on there in the Champion of Champions tournament, snooker tournament at Milton Keynes. Charlton have just taken the lead against Fleetwood. It's Charlton 3, Fleetwood 2. Let's go back then to the Championship and find out what's been going on at Ewood Park, where Blackburn are entertaining Middlesbrough. Watching for us is Regan Valley.
Yes, we've just had 22 minutes played, and it's the best chance of the game falls to Middlesbrough. It's a corner whipped in by Paddy McNair, and at the back post, Britta Sombalonga, a free header, peels away from his marker, and he can't direct his header goalwards, just loops over the bar, and unfortunately, that's the best chance of the game. Crosses do keep coming in, and it's another great header I've just seen here. George Saville heads wide, and it's a goal kick this time. Borough slightly on top, providing more chances. At the moment, defence is beating attack. 23 minutes played here. It's Blackburn 0, Middlesbrough 0.
Thank you, Regan. Now back to the Champions League, and in Group C, we told you about an early goal that had gone in between Porto and Marseille, but there's been some more drama, Jack Mirkovic, at the Stadio de Dragao.
Quite an incredible response, Will, from the visitors, Marseille. They've definitely come more into this contest and actually won a penalty 90 seconds or so ago. Florian Thauvin, the ex-Newcastle man, lovely little jinking, swerving kind of run just to the byline where he got taken out by Malang Sarr, the Chelsea loanee, who is playing for Porto. And the penalty was awarded. There were a few kind of contestations from the Porto players, but Dimitri Payet stepped up, the former West Ham man, and blazed it over the bar. Marseille missed the penalty. Porto won, Marseille 0. What a huge opportunity for Marseille to rid the hoodoo that they've had in Portugal and score before half time. But it does remain 1-0 to the hosts here. 11 minutes or so gone.
Plenty of drama there then in the Champions League tonight. A golden opportunity missed by the French side. Porto 1, Marseille 0. Let's return to the Championship then. 7:45 kickoff. Cardiff were, last time we heard, 1-0 up against Barnsley. Is that still the situation, Ethan Evans?
Yes, well, it's still 1-0 to Cardiff at the moment. Barnsley currently have a set piece on the right-hand side, long ball in, grabbed there by Alex Smithies. But yeah, about 18 minutes in, we missed a fantastic opportunity there for Cardiff to double their advantage. A corner from Wilson, headed by Kiefer Moore, their top goal scorer this season. We could only direct the ball into the hands of Jack Walton in the Tykes net. Returnee Robert Glatzel had a half chance as well, but he couldn't find the right contact. There's still life in this tie. It's Cardiff City 1, Barnsley 0.
More drama potentially in the Champions League tonight. Let's go to the RB Arena where Tom Creswell is watching a penalty. Are you, Tom, between Salzburg and Bayern Munich?
I am indeed. Szoboszlai's just brought down Lucas Hernandez. Just 12 minutes gone here. Lewandowski's going to step up and take this. We shall see what happens here. But Bayern having another chance just a few moments ago. Gnabry getting through on goal, but a brilliant goal line clearance from Andre Romalho making the block. Oh, the referee actually, in fact, he's gone to check the VAR monitor. Hold on here. This is bizarre, quite frankly. The referee was in his totally 100% given it, but he's now gone to check the monitor. So
okay, well, we'll come back to you, Tom, when you have a bit more clarity on whether or not VAR have indeed awarded that penalty or not. In the meantime, let's go to Luke Robinson, who of course is watching FC Midtjylland against Ajax. There might be a goal between Salzburg and Bayern Munich, but there definitely has been a goal between Midtjylland and Ajax, Luke.
Yeah, a very strange and unusual one it was as well. Midtjylland weren't playing bad. They were threatening. They've had their fair share of possession on the ball. But it was the left-back Paulinho making a challenge in the penalty area, poked the ball away from the attacker and into the arms of his goalkeeper. The referee deemed that to be an infringement and gave an indirect free kick on the edge of the 6-yard box, of which Tadic just simply smashed it as hard as he could. And it took a deflection off the Midtjylland defender and went in.
Drama indeed between Midtjylland and Ajax. Ajax currently leading by 2-0. Okay, let's talk about what's been going on also. Or let's go back to Tom, in actual fact. Was it a penalty or not a penalty, Tom?
The referee has indeed changed his mind, and upon viewing the replay, I can see why. Hernandez has very much bought the foul, and if anything, he's taken out the defending player, Szoboszlai. So the referee very correct in turning his decision around and giving the free kick the other way. So after just 13 minutes, it's still 1-0 to Salzburg.
Thank you very much. We'll be going to League One in a moment or so to find out about another goal at the new Plough Lane. But let's stay with the Champions League because there's been an opening goal at the Etihad Stadium where Man City are hosting Olympiacos, Matt Ryan.
Yeah, that was an absolutely fantastic goal. It started with Gundogan in the midfield, who played it shortly to Mahrez. It took a deflection off a defender's leg. Kevin De Bruyne receives it. You know he loves an assist. Plays a 1-2 with Ferran Torres, who then plays another 1-2 with De Bruyne, and Torres finishes through the goalkeeper's legs. That was liquid football. That's all I can say. It was an absolutely fantastic goal. Pep Guardiola will be over the moon with that. 1-0 Manchester City in the 14th minute.
Liquid football. It's something we've become used to, isn't it, at the Etihad? And it looks like they're playing it tonight. Okay, as promised, let's go back to the new Plough Lane where there's been another goal between AFC Wimbledon and Doncaster. Who's it gone to, Rosie Russell?
So gone to Doncaster. The lead for AFC Wimbledon only lasted about 5 minutes, and it was a goal from Matt Sims. Taylor played the ball straight into the box. Matt Sims danced around 3 defenders and straight into the goal past Truman. It was a pretty easy goal for them. The total energy of the game has changed since these goals have come in. There's so much more excitement, so much more action. Reece James looked to make it another goal for Doncaster, but didn't quite have the shot. He over the crossbar and missed. So 1 to AFC Wimbledon and 1 to Doncaster Rovers here at Plough Lane.
Thank you very much to Rosie. Okay, Mansfield have taken the lead away at Bolton. It's Bolton 0, Mansfield 1. It's Crewe 0, Gillingham 1. And also, I believe that there might be, yes, there's a second goal for Colchester. Colchester 2, Stevenage 1 at the moment. And also Oxford United have just taken the lead away at home to Rochdale. They did have the lead. Rochdale pegged them back. It's now Oxford United 2, Rochdale 1. I believe that not last season, but the season before, well, I don't believe anything, but season before last, Liverpool won the Champions League. They struggled a little bit at times early on this season. However, their league form has been fantastic. Have they taken that onto the Champions League tonight? Jack Mayo.
They have indeed, Will. They are 1-0 up at the Gaywood Stadium. It is that man again, Diogo Jota. He now has 4 goals in his last 4 appearances for his new club. A ball outside from Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he whips it round in, and Diogo Jota manages to get around his man and dinks it over Sportiello into the bottom corner. Absolutely brilliant finish. 1-0 Liverpool.
Can't keep him down at the moment, can you? Diogo Jota, since a £40+ million move to Liverpool, scoring for fun. Lincoln City are now 3-0 down at home to Portsmouth, and Grimsby have also taken the lead at home to Barrow. Let's go to Tom Creswell very, very quickly. Tom, who's watching what's going on between Salzburg and Bayern Munich. The ball's been in the back of the net, Tom, but has it been allowed?
It's not. It still remains 1-0 to Salzburg here. It's Serge Gnabry getting the ball and thinking he scored a brilliant goal, but instead the linesman's flagged him offside from way back in his own half. Oh, it's not his own half, sorry, just over the halfway line. Neuer had to be on his toes just a moment ago to deny Andre Ramalho a goal to double their lead, but a fantastic reflex save diving down to his right-hand side. So after 17.5 minutes, it's Salzburg 1, Munich 0.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's go back to the Championship. We've heard from Regan and Ethan at Blackburn and Cardiff. Let's catch up with Billy Taylor in a 7 o'clock kickoff. He's watching Brentford against Swansea. Billy.
Yes, Will, it's still Brentford 1, Swansea City 0 after 55 minutes here at the Brentford Community Stadium. Not much to tell so far from this half. I said Brentford were looking to pick their moments when playing out of defence, but they've been very sloppy this half. That's the risk you take if you're playing it out from the back. Swansea winning the ball off them high at the field plenty of times, but only having one real opportunity, and that came about 32nd minutes into the second half. Jamal Lowe picked Charlie Good's pocket, came inside from about 20 yards and curled a shot that looked destined for the bottom corner. David Raya not only saved it, he caught it. That's why he got the most clean sheets in the Championship last season. Still Brentford 1, Swansea City 0.
Quality keeper, no doubt about that. There was talk of him possibly moving to Arsenal in the summer. He didn't go. Brentford tied him down to a new contract, possibly Arsenal's loss. Okay, and another 7 o'clock kickoff, an earlier kickoff in the Championship. Huddersfield taking on Bristol City. Henry Buxton there at the John Smith Stadium. And last time we heard, Henry, Huddersfield were leading by 1-0. Is that still the case?
Yeah, still 1-0 to Huddersfield, the home team here. Really quite uneventful again, not much happening. Bristol City have not had a shot on target yet. Huddersfield are having much more of the possession, much more of the shots. There's fouls flying in left, right and centre. It's all a bit of carnage really, but there's really nothing going on, not much of note at all. Still 1-0 here to Huddersfield.
Thank you very much to Henry. Plenty going on, though, in the Champions League tonight. We've had missed penalties. We've had goals ruled out. We've had penalties not given. And we might be talking about another goal at the MCH Arena between Midtjylland and Ajax. Which way has it gone, Luke Robinson?
It's gone to the home side, Midtjylland, and what a goal it was. Andred Stryer received the ball from Kajus, the midfielder, on the edge of the box. He takes one touch onto his left foot and with his instep whips it into the right corner. Onana can only flail and fail to get the ball. And to be honest, it's just Midtjylland have been playing well. They've been passing the ball round pretty nicely, and they'll be feeling positive about that one.
Thank you very much there to Luke. So let's just recap what's going on in the Champions League tonight. These are full times from earlier on. Lokomotiv Moscow 1, Atletico Madrid 1, Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Borussia Mönchengladbach 6. Also latest, Atalanta 0, Liverpool 1, Diogo Jota there for Jurgen Klopp's side. We've heard about Porto 1-0 up against Marseille. Man City also 1-0 up against Olympiacos. We've just heard from Luke, who's told us that Ajax are now 2-1 up away at Midtjylland. It's goalless between Real Madrid and Inter Milan. But it looks as though there might actually be a penalty this time. We spoke about one that there could have been between Salzburg and Bayern Munich. It looks like that there might now be one. Is that right, Tom Creswell?
It is indeed. Bayern again getting forward very dangerously, and it's Thomas Müller who spins around in the box and gets taken down by Mwepu. Lewandowski steps up to take the penalty and puts it coolly past Stankovic in goal to make it 1-1 and to register his first goal of the Champions League. It's Salzburg 1, Munich 1.
23 minutes on the clock there. Goals as they go in here on Solent Sports News Live. Welcome along if you're just joining us. Just gone 20 past 8 on this Tuesday night, a cold early November night. We're keeping an eye on plenty of games up and down the land. Let's go back to the Sky Bet League One then. We're AFC Wimbledon. Last we heard from Rosie Russell, we're drawing 1-1 with Doncaster Rovers. What's been happening in the last few minutes, Rosie?
It's still 1-1 here at Plough Lane. There has been a few chances. Well, Matt Smith was down in the 18-yard box, but no penalty came of it. And Amos had a cross into the centre, but Calabami was there to clear it. So Doncaster Rovers looking like the dominant side and pressing, but it's still 1-1 here at Plough Lane.
The Dons looking to get a win at their new ground tonight. We'll be hearing about the other Dons in a moment or so, also in action in League One this evening. But we've got a goal in the Sussex County Senior Cup. Bognor Regis Town hosting Burgess Hill Town. There for us is Henry Deacon. Henry.
And it is Bognor Regis Town 1, Burgess Hill 0. It's Mungoy, the goal scorer for the host, but it's a brilliant bit of play from Joe Cook, serving out to him on the plate, and then he slices it home from inside the penalty area. It's Bognor 1, Burgess Hill 0, 5 to the break.
Thank you very much to Henry. Henry, of course, enjoying the fact that there's fans in the stadium tonight in that Sussex County Senior Cup match. Okay, as promised, let's check out with Ben Burgess. He's watching Northampton Town against MK Dons at the Sixfield Stadium. And last time we heard from you, Ben, it was a bit of a cagey affair. How have things been looking in the last couple of minutes or so?
Yeah, well, it took us 30 minutes to get the first chance of this one, Will. And as MK Dons, who I talked about having a lot of possession, they had a shot from the edge of the area, really well hit strike from Colton Morris. But then after that, Northampton came back into the game with a couple of chances of their own. Firstly, a decent strike from Sam Hoskins on the edge of the area was well blocked before a corner kick, which was swung in from the right. It was Fraser Horsell, the tall centre-back who got a head on it, blocked by his own man, Ryan Watson, inside the 6-yard box. That's the closest we've come to a goal. Otherwise, MK Dons have had to be forced into an early change in this one. The midfielder, Scott Fraser, has made way for Louis Thompson. We played 39 minutes here. I'm looking forward to half-time. It's still Northampton 0, MK Dons 0.
Looking forward to a nice warming cup of hot something, perhaps, on a bit of a chilly early November night at the Sixfield Stadium. Okay, let's check in with our reporters watching games around the Champions League. Let's go back to Group D. Atalanta hosting Liverpool at the Gaywood Stadium. Jack Mayo, what's been happening in the last few minutes?
Well, since the goal at 60 minutes gone, Will, there has been a lot of Liverpool possession. It's been dominant by the Premier League champions, more or less, with them having most of their shots on target, but not much in terms of clear-cut chances. There were a few earlier on in the game before the goal, but it's not as of now. As for Atalanta, they're struggling to get into Liverpool's final third. The only thing of note I've seen so far is that there was a few frustrations from two Liverpool midfielders, Jorginho Wijnaldum and Curtis Jones, respectively, both receiving bookings in just inside a minute of each other. Still 1-0 here, 25 minutes gone.
Thank you very much to Jack. We'll be going to finding out what's going on in Man City's game against Olympiacos at the Etihad in a moment or so. But there's a goal at the Estadio Bernabeu. Cam Summers.
Oh, and it's awful at the back here from Inter, Will. The ex-Madrid man, Hakimi, on the right-hand side, under pressure from the Madrid players, has played the ball, well, what he thought, back to his goalkeeper, Handanovic. But the ball's gone straight to Karim Benzema, who's rounded the goalkeeper and slotted home easily for the home side. 1-0 here, 25 minutes gone.
So Real Madrid 1, Inter Milan 0. As promised, let's find out what's going on in Group C. Manchester City hosting Olympiacos at the Etihad. Matt Ryan.
You'd be surprised to hear, but Manchester City are completely dominating this game. But one thing I have noticed is that they are so attacking that their fullbacks, Walker and Zinchenko, have moved up to essentially a right wing position, playing alongside Mahrez and Sterling. And this has given Valbuena and Radan Klovic some space, and they've been putting good balls into striker El Arabi, but none have connected yet. I'll keep you updated soon. 25 minutes, 1-0 Manchester City.
Thank you very much to Matt. So Man City having the best of things at the moment. Liverpool also leading. Real Madrid just taking the lead against Inter Milan. Last time we were with Tom Croswell at the RB Arena, there were all sorts of fun and games. Penalties, no penalties. Goals, no goals. Last we heard, though, Tom, it was 1-1. Is that still the case at the moment?
Yeah, just still 1-1. Bayern have now started their domination of possession. Lots of just passing around the back and midfield a bit more. Salzburg did have a penalty shout, though. A ball flicked up onto the hand of Jerome Boateng, but after having a quick look at the monitor, the referee thought nothing of it, and it does remain 1-1 after just 27 minutes.
Thank you very much to Tom. Jack Mirkovic has been enjoying an entertaining first half an hour in Group C in the game between Porto and Marseille, where there's been another goal. Which way has it gone, Jack?
It's two. It's two for Porto. Penalty given. There was a little bit of the players were unsure if the penalty was actually going to get awarded after Jesus Corona ran down the right-hand side, jinked into the box before being taken out by Jordan Amavi, who was at fault for the first goal, incidentally. The penalty was given. It didn't look like there was a lot of contact, but the referee gave it. VAR gave the decision to. Oliveira stepped up. He scored in each of Porto's last two games as well. And it's looking bleak for Marseille now. Porto 2, Marseille 0, 28 minutes played.
Not looking good, as Jack says, 2-0 to the hosts. Last time we checked in with Luke at the MCH Arena, Midtjylland were struggling somewhat against Ajax. Have they got back into the game at all, Luke Robinson?
They certainly have. They had a chance to equalise about 5 minutes after their first goal. And it was the goal scorer, Anders Dreyer, who received the ball, a square ball across the 6-yard box from Awer Mabil. All he had to do was keep it calm, keep his composure and slot it in. And instead, he skied it over the bar. It was a really poor finish. And he'll be kicking himself because Midtjylland, for all the possession they've had, they haven't done much with it. And it's still 2-1 to Ajax.
Thank you very much to Luke. Okay, let's check in with Wes Spearman, who's watching the Champion of Champions snooker tournament from Milton Keynes. The second quarter-final tonight between Trump and Gilbert. I believe you're at the mid-session interval. Is that right, Wes?
Yeah, that's correct. Well, 4 frames gone, and it's even Stevens, 2 each to Trump and Gilbert. That last frame, Trump showing exactly why he's the world number one. An opening break of just 21, but well played safety shot. Snookered Gilbert behind the yellow with still with quite a few reds in play, but got it very close to the yellow, and Gilbert took 2 attempts to escape that one. And then Trump, it was all Trump from there on, completely cleared up the rest of the table, making a 732nd career century break. Him equalise Will Gilbert. As I said, 2 frames apiece, 4 frames gone, maximum of 7 to play at Milton Keynes.
Thank you very much to Wes. So Gilbert, 2 frames, Trump, 2 frames. Best of 11. Let's see who progresses this evening. Porto, incidentally, have had a goal ruled out for offside in their Champions League match against Marseille. It still remains Porto 2, Marseille 0. Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship have taken the lead against Bournemouth. Much needed for the team at the bottom of the Championship table. Couldn't buy a win. Been turned over of recent times by Rotherham and Luton, but that's something that Gary Monk and his Sheffield Wednesday team can hang on to. Wednesday 1, Bournemouth 0. Also, Carlisle are beating Newport by 2-0, and Lincoln have got one back in their game against Portsmouth. It's Lincoln 1, Portsmouth 3 as we speak. Just give you a bit of an update on what's been going on elsewhere in the Championship. We'll be going back to our 7 o'clock reporters in a moment or so. But Norwich are still drawing 0-0 with Millwall. As I mentioned, Sheffield Wednesday beating Bournemouth by 1-0. Also, Blackburn drawing 0-0 with Middlesbrough, but we'll be hearing some half times from our reporters in a moment or so. In League One, we'll be going back shortly to the game at New Plough Lane between AFC Wimbledon and Doncaster, and Northampton and MK Dons at Sixfields. But elsewhere in League One, Sunderland 1, Ipswich 1, Plymouth 3, Swindon 2. That's the latest. The Sunderland-Ipswich one, incidentally, is half-time. Also latest, Oxford 2, Rochdale 1, Lincoln 1, Portsmouth 3, Crewe 0, Gillingham 1, Charlton 3, Fleetwood 2, Bristol Rovers 0, Peterborough 2, Blackpool 1, Wigan 0. And a full time from earlier on, it ended Shrewsbury 1, Burton 1. In Sky Bet League 2, 2 games are finished. Oldham 2, Cheltenham 1, Morecambe 2, Exeter 2. These are latest into the second half. Bolton 0, Mansfield 1, Bradford City 3, Southend 0, Cambridge 2, Salford 1, Carlisle 2, Newport 0, Colchester 2, Stevenage 1, Forest Green 1, Leighton 1, Grimsby 1, Barrow 0, Harrogate 0, Tranmere 0, and Walsall 0, Crawley 0. Okay, we do have a goal in the Championship. Let's find out who it's gone to. It's a goal at the Cardiff City Stadium. Ethan Evans, last time we heard, Cardiff were leading. Are they still leading?
Yes, well, it's 2-0 to Cardiff City. It was a penalty after a long ball forward to Harry Wilson on the right-hand side, was brought down by a Barnsley defender, and rightfully so. It was a very, very bad challenge there. There was a bit of dull time in between as the referee couldn't decide, but he ended up pointing up to the spot. Joe Rose steps up, slots the ball into the right-hand corner. It's 2-0 to Cardiff City here at the Cardiff City Stadium.
Thank you very much to Ethan. Okay, let's check in with Regan at Blackburn. Blackburn against Middlesbrough. What's been happening in your match, Regan?
We've just got 1 minute left of the first half to play, and somehow it's still goalless here. 16 shots in total in the first half. And I said before the game that Rovers are a very attacking team and Borough very defensive. And it's been the polar opposite so far. Borough with 12 of those shots, just to Rovers 4. But Rovers with fantastic defending, 8 blocks from those 12 shots. And Middlesbrough, I wouldn't want this half to end because they've been absolutely fantastic. But just under 30 seconds to the end of the half. And still somehow it's Blackburn 0, Middlesbrough 0.
Blimey, certainly sounds as though Blackburn are throwing everything at it. Let's drop down a few levels. In fact, actually, before we go to the Sussex County Senior Cup and hear about the half-time from Henry Deacon, there's a couple of goals just gone in literally in the last second or so in Europe. First of all, let's go to northern Italy, Bergamo, in fact, where Atalanta are hosting Liverpool. Last we heard it was 1-0 to the visitors. There's been another goal, though, Jack Mayo.
It has, Will, and it's Diogo Jota again, a bit spilled out from a corner from Liverpool into Joe Gomez, who manages to play the ball over the top all the way to the left-hand side. And Jota just carries his run. He takes a brilliant first touch inside and smashes the ball, zips it along the ground into the bottom corner. 34 minutes gone here, 2-0 Liverpool.
Thank you very much to Jack. There's also been a goal in the Real Madrid against Inter Milan game at this Stadio Bernabeu. Which way has it gone, Cam Summers?
And it's gone to the hosts, Madrid. Eden Hazard with some lovely work down the left-hand side, jinking in and out of Inter Milan players, earned himself a corner. And the German Toni Kroos crossed in to that man, the captain, Sergio Ramos, for his 3rd goal of the season, with a delightful header to the far post. 2-0 Madrid here, 35 minutes gone.
Thank you very much. In the 7 o'clock kickoff in the Championship, there's been a goal between Huddersfield and Bristol City. Which way has it gone, Henry Buxton?
And it's gone to the away side. It's been quite an uneventful second half, but Bristol City have got a goal that you were going to come to me before, and I was going to say that they were slightly on top over the last 5 minutes, and they've deserved this goal after pushing so hard. But Huddersfield have been the better side over the game, so Bristol City are quite lucky. Justice Silva with the goal. It's 1-1.
Thank you very much there to Henry. Another goal has gone in at the Bernabeu. We were literally there 2 minutes ago hearing about Real Madrid's second. Is it a third, Cam Summers?
It is not, and the away side are back in this, Will. Some lovely play through the middle of Inter. And Nico Barella's played a beautiful back-heeled through ball to Lautaro Martinez. And the Argentine has beat off Rafael Varane and slotted home for the away side, 2-1.
Thank you very much there. So plenty of goals going in the Champions League tonight, up and down the country. We'll take a moment or so to take stock of them shortly. However, let's go to the Sussex County Senior Cup game tonight. Bognor Regis Town playing against Burgess Hill Town. Half-time report from Henry Deacon. Henry.
Yeah, half-time, Bognor Regis Town 1, Burgess Hill Town 0. It's a repeat of the last final of this competition played in 2019 back at the Amex Stadium. Bognor won the final. Their fans have made it known to the opposition. And it was a brilliant goal to give them the lead as well. Joe Cook, Saitat Tungai to make it 1-0. Burgess have had a couple of opportunities towards the end of the half, but their final ball into the box hasn't been convincing as of yet. It's been a good attendance here this evening. They reckon it's a bigger crowd than usual for a game like this, but it has been a freezing cold night. You've been in a very warm studio, central heating on. Good old cup of coffee has come to be the saviour tonight. But at half-time here, Bognor 1, Burgess Hill 0.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deacon. Yes, indeed, the cups of tea are flowing quite nicely in our central heated studio here tonight. Okay, let's go back to the Championship then. Half-time in the game between Cardiff and Barnsley. Ethan Evans.
Yes, Will. Neil Harris is probably walking into that tunnel with a grin from year to year after that first half performance. He wouldn't have been had Ralls not dispatched that penalty at the death of that first half, as the Bluebirds have missed an array of chances. Robert Glatzel, most notably, the German striker, has missed 2 headers, probably half chances, gliding past the post, and also a second, which Walton was equal to. Barnsley have threatened though, but these instances have been very few and far between. The Tykes new man at the helm is definitely not a happy man at all, making a tactical sub towards the end of that first half, with Elliot Simois leaving the pitch, replaced by Clark O'Dure. Junior Hoylett had opened the score very early on in the 4th minute. Cardiff deservedly ahead. It probably should have been more. Cardiff City 2, Barnsley 0.
Thank you very much there to Ethan. We'll be going down to League One in a moment or so, but let's stay in the Championship and find out the half-time whistle has gone at Ewood Park. Blackburn against Middlesbrough. Regan Valley.
Yes, at half-time here at Ewood Park, Blackburn 0, Middlesbrough 0. 12 shots to 5 in Middlesbrough's favour. 1 shot on target each, though. Both coming within the first 5 minutes. Started off very brightly. Britta Sombalonga and Johnny Howson with chances. The latter saved by Pears. And up the other end, it was a chance by Sam Gallagher headed straight at Marcus Bettinelli. Since then, however, I'd say it's been all Middlesbrough. And I think Neil Warnock, who has not beaten a Blackburn Rovers side in 9 attempts last time, drawn 3 and lost 6. I say he'd go into the dressing room quite happy, but also quite annoyed his team hasn't taken any of his chances, to be honest, because they've had many chances. And Rovers, who are not known for their defending this season, have been absolutely sensational at the back. Tony Mowbray, 425 appearances for Middlesbrough as a player and 3 seasons as a coach. He knows how to get the best out of the Blackburn team against them so far. Interesting second half. Surely some goals here so far. Blackburn 0, Middlesbrough 0 at half-time.
So Blackburn throwing everything, including the kitchen sink at it, but no goals at the moment. Okay, let's drop down to Sky Bet League One. AFC Wimbledon entertaining Doncaster at the New Plough Lane. The first game in that neck of the woods for the best part of 2 decades. Half-time, Rosie Russell.
Yeah, the last part of that first half saw signs of Wimbledon getting that attacking game together. There was lots of passing for Wimbledon in their final third, and McLaughlin lobbed the ball from the halfway line, but nothing came of it. It wasn't long before Doncaster were back in the game, though. Sims in the penalty area, and Truman was there to knock the ball away from the goal. He had his chance. Sims ball straight to him, straight down to the middle of the goal, but Truman knocked it out the way. Doncaster finishing that half how they started it, really, with most of the possession. It's been a fairly even game at the moment, as the scoreline shows. Half-time here at Plough Lane, AFC Wimbledon 1, Doncaster Rovers 1.
Thank you very much, Rosie. Northampton also half-time in their game against MK Dons at Sixfield Stadium. Our reporter there, Ben Burgess.
Yeah, goalless here at the break at Sixfield. It's been a really poor half in truth. Although there was a penalty appeal for MK Dons right on the stroke of half-time. It was Cameron Jerome who broke into the box, profited from a slip in the Northampton defence. He was too slow, though, to pull the trigger, Cameron Jerome, and the cover and challenge came in from Danny Rose, the Northampton striker of all people, on the cover to prevent what would have been a certain goal. A really good challenge from him, and it certainly wasn't a penalty. A correct decision from the referee. Gotta say, it's been a really poor game. MK Dons have had 64% of the possession, as we've discussed before. They've been good on the ball without creating any chances. This game can only get better in the second half, really. At the break, it's Northampton Town 0, MK Dons 0.
Thank you very much, Ben. Talking of things getting better, things might be getting better for one side at the John Smith Stadium because there's been a goal between Huddersfield and Bristol City. Which way has it gone, though, Henry Buxton?
Yeah, it's all flipped around here. It's now 2-1 to Bristol City. They have not been the better side throughout the whole game, and they've just stepped up here. It's the substitute Patterson who has got the goal. It was scrappy. It was bouncing around the box. Didn't know where it was going to go, but Patterson found the ball at his feet and tapped it in. It is 2-1 to Bristol City.
Thank you very much there to Henry. There's also been a goal, has there? Well, let's find out some details in the match between Brentford and Swansea City. Billy Taylor's at the Brentford Community Stadium. Bill?
Yes, well, it is still Brentford 1, Swansea City 0 here at the Brentford Community Stadium, but chances galore at the moment. The game is opening up. Henrik Dalsgaard with a free header from a Brian Mbuemo free kick, gilt edge opportunity who could have put the game away, and Gyorokes just put wide of David Raya's net. Brentford, this has vibes of the Norwich City game, which they drew 1-1 last midweek, and Swansea City have scored. Andre Ayew has just tapped the ball home in the 6-yard box. He shushes the Brentford bench. You can't help but think that is a dig at former Brentford striker Ollie Watkins, who did the same in the playoff semi-finals last season. Andre has just poked home from 6 yards. That is his 5th goal of the season. Swansea's top scorer last season. It is now Brentford 1, Swansea City 1 at the Brentford Community Stadium.
Thank you very much, Bill. Goals as they go in here on Solent Sports News Live. Midweek special, plenty of goals all around the Sky Bet Championship, Sky Bet League One, and indeed the UEFA Champions League tonight. Okay, let's just take stock of exactly what is going on. In Europe, in the Champions League, full times from earlier on, Lokomotiv Moscow 1, Atletico Madrid 1, Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Borussia Mönchengladbach 6. These are latest. Atalanta 0, Liverpool 2, FC Porto 2, Marseille 0. Man City are beating Olympiacos by a goal to 0. Ajax a 2-1 up away at Midtjylland. Real Madrid approaching half-time, a 2-1 up to Inter, and it's currently Salzburg 1, Bayern Munich 1. In the Championship, we've heard it's 1-1 between Brentford and Swansea. We've heard about Bristol City's second goal, Huddersfield 1, Bristol City 2. It's still goalless with 5 minutes to go between Norwich and Millwall at Carrow Road. Sheffield Wednesday are beating 10 men Bournemouth by a goal to 0 with 5 minutes to go at Hillsborough. It's also, as we've heard, 0-0 between Blackburn and Middlesbrough somehow at Ewood Park, and Cardiff are 2-0 to the good against Barnsley. In Sky Bet League One, a full time from earlier on, Shrewsbury 1, Burton 1. These are all latest. Blackpool 1, Wigan 0, Bristol Rovers 0, Peterborough 2, Charlton 3, Fleetwood 2, Crewe 0, Gillingham 1, Lincoln 1, Portsmouth 3, Oxford United 3, Rochdale 1, Plymouth 3, Swindon 2, all those 5 goals coming in the first 20 minutes of that match. They're all coming towards the end of their games. They were 7 o'clock kickoffs. Sunderland 1, Ipswich 1. That was in an 8 o'clock. In a 7:45 kickoff. And it's also, as we've heard, half time between AFC Wimbledon and Doncaster. It's 1-1, and Northampton 0, MK Dons 0. Before we go to League Two, let's find out about another goal just towards the half-time whistle, but a goal nonetheless between Salzburg and Bayern Munich. Salzburg took the lead in this match. Do they re-have the lead after Bayern Munich equalised, or is it the visitors who have gone ahead, Tom Creswell?
No, it's Salzburg 1, Bayern Munich 2. A brilliant turnaround from Bayern Munich, who score via an own goal from Max Werber in defence. It's Thomas Müller who's driving down the right-hand side, and instead of passing back, he just smashed it straight off the defender and it just falls past Stankovic in goal and into the back of the net. So just a couple of moments before half-time, it's Salzburg 1, Bayern Munich 2.
So the current European champions turning it around at the RB Arena, a goal down. They're now 2-1 to the good going into half-time. Carlisle have conceded a goal against Newport. They were 3-0 up. It's now Carlisle 3, Newport 1. Okay, let's get some half times then from the Champions League. First and foremost, let's go to the Gaywood Stadium where Atalanta are hosting Liverpool. Jack Mayo.
Yeah, half time here, Will. 2-0 Liverpool, and it's been a very dominant performance from the Premier League leaders from the start. Atalanta did have a very decent chance halfway through the first half, which got lost among the second goal, but they actually hit the crossbar with Zapata halfway in from a ball over the top from the defence. It took a deflection off Trent Alexander-Arnold and just clipped the bar and went over. But other than that, thanks to a Diogo Jota brace, the real man in form, Jurgen Klopp, has got a big smile on his face. And I think he'll be very happy he included him tonight. Half-time here, 2-0 Liverpool.
Things going well then for the Reds. We'll be catching up with Man City in a moment or so. We've heard about Salzburg and Bayern Munich's closing stages of that game. Bayern leading by 2-1. Let's go to the Estadio Bernabeu where Real Madrid are entertaining Inter. It's half time. Cam Summers watching this one for us.
Yeah, half-time here, Will, and 2-1 to the hosts. And to be fair, 2-1 doesn't flatter the two sides. There should have been more goals in this game. The early chances going for Marco Asensio, whose first-time strike was pushed over by Handanovic in the Inter goal. And Lautaro Martinez could have had a couple. And he would be disappointed to not put the Italians in front before Real Madrid's opener with his shot going straight into Courtois' gloves from just inside the box. But very end-to-end game here, Will.
And currently 2-1 to Real Madrid at half-time. Okay, let's go back to the Etihad Stadium then. Manchester City entertaining Olympiacos. With the half-time report, here's Matt Ryan.
Pep Guardiola will be absolutely fuming with that half. I don't know how City aren't at least 3 or 4 up. There's been a lot of shots and range. Apparently, they disrespect the keeper, Jose Sá, who's made nothing short of about 35,000 saves that half. The players need to focus on passing more. As I said, the first goal was such a well-passed goal, but since then it's just been shots and range and nothing that dangerous for the Portuguese goalkeeper. Half-time, Manchester City 1, Olympiacos 0.
So it's looking good for Liverpool. It's looking good for Manchester City. And as we heard at the tail end of that first half, it's looking pretty good for Bayern Munich as well at the RB Arena. They're taking on RB Salzburg. Half-time, Tom Creswell.
Yes, at half-time it's Salzburg 1, Bayern Munich 2. Salzburg started the half very strongly and took the lead through Mergin Berisha, but after a VAR overturned penalty, Bayern grew into the game a lot more. It was Thomas Muller who won the penalty off of Enoch Mwepu, and then Lewandowski dispatching it for his first of the Champions League campaign. Salzburg proving to be no pushovers, however, and have come close a couple of times through Koita and Kamara, but it was an own goal from Christensen, in fact, which has put Bayern in the ascendancy just into going into the interval. At half-time, it's Salzburg 1, Bayern Munich 2.
Thank you very much to Tom. Talking of the interval, we'll be catching up with Wes Spearman, who's watching the champion of champions in the snooker. He'll be able to sum up what's been going on so far today. But let's keep our eye on the Champions League half-times at the moment. In Group C, Porto have had an entertaining first half against Marseille at the Estadio de Dragao. Jack Mirkovic has been watching for us.
Yes, Will. Porto will be the far happier, leading 2-0 at half-time. And I've realised I've used the words jinking and swerving a lot during my report, but that's really the only words to describe the Porto wingers. Jesus Corona and Luis Diaz have been standout for Sergio Conceição's side. And they took the lead through Marega. It was Jesus Corona, ball across the box and just a...
Oh, it looks as though we've lost Jack for the moment or so. Not to worry, we'll find out more from Jack Mirkovic in a moment or so. But less to say, or at least should we say, Porto very much had the better of that first half against Marseille, and currently they are leading by 2-0. Those goals coming in that first half. Okay, let's head over to Denmark, where FC Midtjylland are entertaining Ajax. Watching this one for us, Luke Robinson.
Yeah, it's been more of the same, really. Ajax are now sitting deep, trying to consolidate on their 2-1 lead and hit Midtjylland on the break, who are committing numbers forward. Anwar Mabil on the left-hand side has been particularly impressive for the Danish outfit. But It's died down a little bit, let's just say that, after a frantic start. Midtjylland have a lot of possession, but they're not really creating many chances. And every time Ajax get the ball, Midtjylland hunt them down like a pack of wolves and win it back immediately. It's looking, things are getting better for Midtjylland. They've got into the game after being out of it at the start. Still 2-1 to Ajax.
Thank you very much to Luke. So 2-1 Ajax leading at the moment or so. Let's take a trip down to League One because, well, there was talk of a penalty possibly at Sixfield Stadiums between Northampton and MK Dons, Ben Burgess.
Yeah, it certainly was. It looked stonewall from here, Will. I've got to say, it was Cameron Jerome again causing problems for the Northampton defence. He was slipped through and just looked as though he was tugged back right on the edge of the area. It really was one of those decisions where you just don't know if it was in or out of the box. But yeah, it certainly looked a foul. Nothing given, though, by the referee, much to the surprise of myself and I think the Milton Keynes Dons bench as well, who were up in arms over that decision. Not given, still remains goalless here. Northampton 0, MK Dons 0.
Thank you very much there to Ben. Okay, let's change sports then. A sport with many balls as opposed to just one. Let's go to Wes Spearman, who's at the arena in Milton Keynes, watching the second quarter-final between Trump and Gilbert in the Champion of Champions. And I believe the fifth frame is up and running, Wes.
Well, indeed, Will, it's actually just finished another masterful frame from the world number one, Judd Trump. A break of 112, another century break in consecutive frames for the young left-hander. 15 reds, 11 blacks, 2 pinks, 1 brown and 2 yellows. Not quite clearing up the table and missing a pot on the green into the top left corner. But at the moment, Trump leading 3 frames to 2.
Thank you very much. In that best of 11 quarter-final, Wes will be keeping an eye on what's going on in that one. Okay, let me just quickly run down a few goals and a few full times as well. It's ended Blackpool 1, Wigan 0. It's also ended 3-1 to Portsmouth away at Lincoln City. It's ended Crewe 0, Gillingham 1. It's also finished at Colchester. Colchester have beaten Stevenage by 3-1. And it's ended at the Reebok Stadium, or actually the University of Bolton Stadium these days. Bolton 1, Mansfield 1. A late goal in the game between Carlisle and Newport. Goals gone to Newport, Carlisle 3, Newport 2. Peterborough have also scored a second in their game. Bristol Rovers 0, Peterborough 2 in League One. Okay, let's go back to the Championship. The final stages, if you like, of the matches between the 7 o'clock kickoffs in the Championship, certainly coming to an end. Let's first of all take a look at what happened or is happening between Brentford and Swansea at the Brentford Community Stadium. Billy Taylor.
Yes, well, we're into 5 minutes of additional time here in West London. Brentford 1, Swansea City 1. It's been a fairly even game. You'd say Swansea did deserve that goal that they got late on just 10 minutes ago. If both teams pushing for a winner, though, these sides are 2 possession-based sides, attacking teams who like to win games. Both of these sides haven't. The 2 sides who have picked up 35 points each, the most points out of any team in the Championship since football began back in July from the lockdown. Both going for a win. 3 minutes left of additional time. Brentford 1, Swansea 1.
We'll catch up with Billy when the full-time whistle goes in that game. But I believe the full-time whistle has gone at the John Smith Stadium, where Henry Buxton's been watching Huddersfield against Bristol City. How did it end up, Henry?
Yes, the visitors take all 3 points here. Huddersfield were dominating for the most of the game, but the last 15 minutes, Bristol City came to life. A goal from Jay De Silva and Jamie Patterson sealed the win for Bristol City. The Huddersfield manager does not look impressed, and he stormed down the tunnel at the final whistle. There was a claim for a penalty right near the end. Not really a handball, but a protest for handball from Huddersfield Town to get a penalty in the last few minutes, but it did not come about. So, yeah, full time here. Huddersfield Town 1, Bristol City 2.
Thank you very much there to Henry. Another few full times. Games just finished in League Two. Grimsby have beaten Barrow by 1-0. It's also ended Charlton 3, Fleetwood 2 in League One. It's also ended in League One Plymouth 4, Swindon 2, two teams that were promoted from League Two last season, battling it out in a bit of a thriller down in the southwest. Lots of goals in the first 25 minutes or so, but it's ended Plymouth 4, Swindon 2. Swindon did have a man sent off in that match. In the Championship, it's ended between Norwich and Millwall, goalless at Carrow Road. Norwich 0, Millwall 0. Oxford have also ended up beating Rochdale by 3-1. And it's also finished Walsall 1, Crawley Town 0. Plenty of games coming towards the ends. They were 7 o'clock kickoffs, of course. There's other 7:45s, and there's, of course, the 8 o'clock kickoffs in the Championship. In the Champions League, I beg your pardon, up and down the country. Okay, let's check in with what's been going on in the games. Let's stay with the Championship for a moment and find out how the early stages of the second half has been going between Blackburn and Middlesbrough Ewood Park. Watching that for us, Regan Valley.
Yes, we've just had 5 minutes of the second half here. Blackburn Rovers with a change at the second half. Joe Rothwell comes on for Tyree Stone, and that's his first appearance in 5 games for him, for Rothwell, after he tested positive for COVID and then had a back spasm upon his return. He comes on for the first time in 5 matches. And just like the first half, it was a very lively start by Middlesbrough yet again. Tavernier's low cross ricochet out for a corner, could have gone absolutely anywhere. And then from the resulting corner, free kick on the opposite side of a foul was crossed in, and Houchen shot at the back post completely unmarked, forces a great save from Ainsley Pears, who actually has been at Middlesbrough for his entire career until deadline day, where he moved to Blackburn Rovers, where he's now playing against them. 5 minutes gone in the second half. It's Blackburn Rovers 0, Middlesbrough 0.
So the deadlock hasn't been broken then at Ewood Park yet, but Cardiff had a good first half in their game against Barnsley at the Cardiff City Stadium. 10 minutes into the second half. How are things faring at the moment, Ethan Evans?
Yes, well, we are currently 6 minutes into the second half. Barnsley were the first team out, and they were out relatively early on. Cardiff, Barnsley were forced to wait a while. I don't think the Barnsley new man was very happy with the performance of his 11 in that first half. But there's been no changes aside from that tactical sub of Elliot Simoes at the end of that first half for Clark Adua. But the same Cardiff 11 has re-entered the field. But Barnsley have started the second half with enthusiasm and countless diagonal runs, causing a relatively organised Bluebird backline a few problems. Barnes had a set piece about 47 minutes in on the right-hand side of the Cardiff box, but James's set piece was well dealt with. At the moment, we are coming to 54 minutes in. It's Cardiff 2, Barnsley 0.
Thank you very much to Ethan. So plenty of goals, plenty of drama in that game. I believe the full-time whistle has gone at the Brentford Community Stadium, but a bit of drama right at the end, Billy Taylor.
Yes, well, it is full-time here. It is Brentford 1, Swansea City 1, and you are completely correct. There's been plenty of drama here. With the last kick of the game, the ball was in the back of the Brentford net. Swansea City, it was Andre Ayew who went away celebrating just as much as he did his first. He looked to go give it big to that Brentford bench once again, but the flag was up. And Will, I tell you now, that was not offside. Brentford get away with one here. Pontus Jansson not at the back again. Norgard not in midfield. Brentford are throwing away leads in this Championship, and they can't afford to do that if they want to go one step better this season and earn promotion. But Brentford 1, Swansea 1 here in West London.
Thank you very much to Billy Taylor. Bit of luck then going the way of the Bees, as he says, need to really shore things up if they've got dreams of playing Premier League football next season. Okay, let's drop down to Sky Bet League One at the new Plough Lane. Afc Wimbledon entertaining Doncaster. First 6 or 7 minutes or so of the second half. How are things going, Rosie Russell?
Well, Doncaster have come out attacking. They've got most of the possession from the start. They've had a few chances, but the defence of Wimbledon has been strong. But to be fair, most of the game is being played in the Doncaster final third, keeping all the possession, but no goals are coming from it. So still 1-1 here at New Plough Lane, 55 minutes in.
Thank you very much to Rosie. Now, one man who didn't have much to talk about in that first half was Ben Burgess. He's watching Northampton against MK Dons at Sixfield Stadium. Anything to write home about so far in the second half, Ben?
Yeah, well, of course, the last time you came to me, I was talking about that penalty appeal for Milton Keynes Dons. Cameron Jerome it was going through, just tugged back on the edge of the area by Fraser Forsell. And I've got to say, upon viewing a couple of replays, I'm not sure why the referee's not giving it. It looked a stonewall one here, and it would have been against the run of play you have to feel for MK Dons had they have received that decision and got a penalty, but it wasn't to be. Still remains 0-0. MK Dons, you've got to say, at the start of the second half, have come out much the brighter. It looks as though Russell Martin has got into them at half time, and they are producing some better stuff and moving forward with a little bit more intensity at the moment. Still remains 0-0 here at Sixfields. Northampton Town 0, MK Dons 0.
Thank you very much to Ben. Okay, will there be a goal in that game? Only time will tell. Let's drop down to the Sussex County Senior Cup now. Bognor Regis Town entertaining Burgess Hill Town. Now, at half-time, it was 1-0 to Bognor Regis Town. Is that still the case early in this second half, Henry Deacon?
Burgess Hill have just equalised, so 1-1 here at Norwood Lane. Good ball across into Porter, who scored the equaliser. It's 1-1 here at Norwood Lane. The Burgess Hill fans, you can probably hear, are really enjoying that. It's been quite a dull start, it has to be said, to this second period here at Norwood Lane. And Burgess Hill up the other end again on the attack. Certainly in the ascendancy at the moment. It's been a far from ideal start for Bognor Regis. They did bring a couple of subs on, but at the moment, we're coming up towards the hour mark, half hour left. Penalties, if it's level after 90 minutes, we're heading that way at the moment. It's Bognor 1, Burgess Hill 1.
Wow, 1-1. Henry Deacon could have penalties to talk about a little bit later as well. So much drama, he's even taken his headset off. That's the level of things going on the South Coast. Okay, the Champions League games kicking off as we speak. Let's have a little bit of a look at what's been going on then. First and foremost, Liverpool had a really good first half against Atalanta at the Gaywood Stadium. They were leading by 2 Diogo Jota goals to 0 at half-time. And you're back up and running again in the second half, Jack Mayo.
I am, and just as you say, bring me on, Will. Mo Salah is in and buried it top corner on a counter-attack to make it 3-0 to Liverpool. It has come from a Curtis Jones ball over the top into the counter-attack from Salah, and his pace is just too much for the 2 remaining Atalanta defenders. So it's 3-0 here at the Gaywood Stadium, and Salah scores again.
Goals as they go in on Solent Sports News Live. This midweek special, Liverpool 3-0 up now away at Atalanta. Man City possibly should have been 3-0 up in that first half against Olympiacos. Pep Guardiola probably scratching his head, wondering why that wasn't the case. How have they started the second half, Matt Ryan?
Yeah, so we've just kicked off here again at the Etihad. Pedro Martins, the Olympiacos manager, seems to want to go for it in the second half. He's made 2 subs at halftime. He's brought the winger Bruma on for midfielder Ranadжилiovic, and attacking midfielder Pepe is on for Bucha Klaklakis. So he's taken 2 midfielders off for 2 attacking players. I think he sees a problem here in the City back line. So this might be an interesting second half coming up here, but still 1-0 Man City.
Still 1-0 to Manchester City. Liverpool, though, having a good night away at Atalanta. We'll be hearing from Tom and Cameron, who are watching Salzburg, Bayern Munich and Madrid Inter when their games start the second half. But they have kicked off in northern Portugal. Porto entertaining Marseille. And it was a good first half for Porto, wasn't it, Jack Mirkovic? Are you expecting more of the same?
Yeah, you would think so. It's a good opportunity for Porto, especially with Manchester City also in the group. Both sides, of course, losing to Guardiola's team. But yeah, Marseille have started the half the better in the first couple of minutes and are looking to try and get back into proceedings. Of course, I touched on the French record in Portugal in European competition. And yeah, we shall see if Andre Villas-Boas' side can muster some sort of response here. It's Porto 2, Marseille 0, 49 minutes played here.
Thank you very much to Jack. Now, a moment or so ago, we heard about Liverpool's 3rd goal in their game against Atalanta. I believe there's been another one in northern Italy. Which way has it gone this time, Jack Mayo?
It's gone to the Reds again, and this time Sadio Mane. That's a goal for all of Liverpool's front three now this evening. A ball from Salah out wide to Mane, and he is just too quick for the defender. Keeper comes rushing out, and it's a lovely dink over the keeper into the back of the net. Atalanta 0, Liverpool 4 at the Gaywood Stadium, Will.
Goodness me. Liverpool 4-0 up went against a team that did so well in both Europe and Serie A last season. One of the hipsters' choice amongst European football, but Atalanta being put to the sword as we speak. Okay, we're back up and underway at the MCH Arena. FC Midtjylland against Ajax. How have the first couple of minutes of this second half gone, Luke Robinson?
Well, Midtjylland ended the first half having a lot of the ball, having a lot of possession, but roles are reversed at the moment in these open exchanges in the second half. Ajax are just dominating possession, pure and simple. They've made one change. David Klaassen, who was cleared very late to be involved in this game, coming on for Jurgen Ekkelenkamp. And yeah, Ajax are kind of got that belief back that they are the team with more quality. And at the moment, they're just stroking it about, and Midtjylland can't get near them.
Let's see how that happened in that second half. Thanks very much to Luke. We'll be catching up with Wes in a moment or so in the Champion of Champions snooker tournament at the MK Arena. But let's just find out what's been going on in the early stages of the second half between RB Salzburg and Bayern Munich. Well, actually, I say that. Are they out on the pitch yet, Tom Cresswell?
They are. We've been underway for just under 3 minutes now. Still 2-1 to Bayern Munich. Salzburg having the best opportunity of the short half so far, the only attack so far. A shot from Mwepu testing Manuel Neuer, and he produces a top-class save to deny the fullback of the equalising goal. But 48 minutes gone, and it's Bayern 2, Salzburg 1.
Thank you very much there to Tom. Okay, so just a quick roundup of what's been going on all round the country and indeed in European football. If you're just tuning in, some full times from earlier on in the Champions League. Lokomotiv Moscow 1, Atletico Madrid 1, and Borussia Mönchengladbach beat Shakhtar Donetsk 6-0 away in the Ukraine. Liverpool are 4-0 up away at Atalanta in the first 7 or 8 minutes of this second half. Porto still beating Marseille by 2-0. Man City a goal up against Olympiacos. Ajax 2-1 up against Midtjylland. Real Madrid beating Inter by 2-1. And as we just heard from Tom, Bayern Munich in the early stages in this second half, currently beating Salzburg by 2-1. It's finished in the Championship. Brentford 1, Swansea 1, Huddersfield 1, Bristol City 2, Norwich 0, Millwall 0, and Sheffield Wednesday 1, Bournemouth 0. We'll be catching up with what's been going on in the Championship between Blackburn and Middlesbrough and Cardiff and Barnsley in a moment or so. However, let's go to Stadium MK. I say Stadium MK, the MK Arena rather, for an update on the Champion of Champions game between second quarter-final match between Judd Trump and David Gilbert. Watching this one for us here on Solent Sports News Live, it's Wes Spearman.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a scrappy frame six at the moment. Neither player being able to control their break. Trump, the highest break of the frame so far, which is 31. He then snookered Gilbert behind the yellow, but he managed to escape with the first attempt. Trump then missed a fairly simple red to the left middle. Gilbert tried to, Gilbert potted it, but then went off into the top right-hand corner pocket. Again, neither player not being able to continue their breaks beyond 7. Trump just missed a fairly easy pink to the right middle pocket. But Trump currently leading the frame 42 points to 10. It should, this frame should go the way of Trump, but you never know. David Gilbert's in decent form so far. World number 12 still trailing Trump, but it is very close. Trump 3, Gilbert 2.
Okay, so 6 frames needed to win this quarter-final. Trump currently 3-2 up and leading in the 6th frame as well. Let's see what happens in that particular match. I believe there's been another goal in the Champions League. Which way has it gone? Well, it's in the Atalanta-Liverpool game. Is it a 1 back for Atalanta, or is it a 5th for Liverpool, Jack Mayo?
It is a 5th for Liverpool. Well, Diogo Jota has completed his hat-trick 10 minutes into the second half. A ball played through to him by Sadio Mane, I believe, and goalkeeper has come rushing out. There were two defenders there. There was no need to do so, but Diogo Jota's got there first, rounded him and placed the ball into the empty net. Atalanta 0, Liverpool 5 at the Gaywood Stadium.
£40 million looks like a snip now for the Portuguese Jota, doesn't it? A debut winner against Sheffield United, a second game winner against West Ham, and a hat-trick on Champions League duty tonight. What a player he is turning out to be for Jurgen Klopp's side. Fantastic stuff from Liverpool. Okay, let's go back to the Championship. Let's find out what's been happening in our commentary games between Blackburn and Middlesbrough and Cardiff and Barnsley. We'll be going to the Cardiff City Stadium in a moment or so. But first, let's find out what's happening at Ewood Park between Blackburn and Middlesbrough. Regan Valley.
Yeah, so it's 65 minutes played and we've had 21 shots so far throughout the game, and the three best chances coming in these 20 minutes of the second half. 53 minutes gone. Ainsley Pears, like I said, played for Middlesbrough his whole career. Fantastic save, tipping over a Tavernier effort from point blank range. Absolutely brilliant. The corner coming to nothing. And just 5 minutes later, Blackburn themselves, Harvey Elliott, a brilliant pass into Rankin Costello across the box, and it's inches wide from Brereton and Gallagher. Only needed a touch to get into the bottom corner and past Bettinelli. Couldn't do it. And just now, a Britta Somolonga free kick from 25 yards out, following a foul on Johnny Howson. A hit with a lot of power, but straight into one of those seats, empty seats at Ewood Park. Somehow still 66 minutes played, a very entertaining game, but still 0-0.
Funny old game football, isn't it? Blackburn 0, Middlesbrough 0, despite a whole host of chances at an empty Ewood Park. There have been goals, though, this evening in South Wales. Cardiff City Stadium is the venue for Cardiff against Barnsley. And watching that for us is Ethan Evans.
Yes, well, Cardiff have continued the second half just as they finished the first, constantly pressuring the Barnsley back line, with the defenders unable to deal with sufficiently deal with the ever so dangerous Harry Wilson. Robert Glatzel is a name I think I mentioned about 1,000 times tonight. And in terms of his positioning today, he's been absolutely stupendous, but his finishing has been questionable. His header, the towering German's header, was soft and easily caught by Walton 59 minutes in, but there were small signs of a Barnsley resurgence early on in the second half, and they pulled a smart save from keeper Alex Smithies on 62 minutes in, palming a header from Schmidt over the bar. Just as you joined me, Harry Wilson hit a poor free kick into the stands, but I think if there is going to be another goal in this game, it is going to be for Cardiff City. We are currently 68 minutes in, and it's Cardiff City 2, Barnsley 0.
Thank you very much there to Ethan Evans. So just to reiterate what's been happening in the Championship, full times from earlier on. Brentford 1, Swansea 1, Huddersfield 1, Bristol City 2, Norwich 0, Millwall 0, and Sheffield Wednesday 1, Bournemouth 0. They've all finished. Around about 20 minutes to go, Blackburn 0, Middlesbrough 0, as Regan was telling us, and Cardiff 2, Barnsley 0. Let's go down to Sky Bet League 1 then. AFC Wimbledon hosting Doncaster at the New Plough Lane, the first game at the New Plough Lane. They scored first. They were pinned back. How's it going at the moment, though, Rosie Russell?
Well, Doncaster are still the more dominant side. They're almost toying with Wimbledon. They're having a bit of a kick around, and then they suddenly attack. They've got them exactly where they want them. So it's only a matter of minutes, I feel, before Doncaster get another goal. They did have a chance. The ball was played into the centre by Sims to John, but it was deflected. The defence of Wimbledon has been very good because there's been a few chances, and they've been there sending the balls away. Sims has been a key player of this match, though. He's doing all the work. He's running around like a Duracell bunny. He's all over the place, creating chances for Doncaster. So I think if a goal comes, he will be a big part of it.
Thank you very much to Rosie. So just under 20 minutes to go in that match. AFC Wimbledon 1, Doncaster 1. Incidentally, in a 7:30 kickoff, Sunderland are now beating Ipswich, 10-man Ipswich, incidentally, by 2-1. That goal's gone in the last couple of minutes or so. So Sunderland looking good for a win in a 7:30 kickoff there in Sky Bet League 1. Let's go and catch up with Ben Burgess. He's watching Northampton against MK Dons at the Sixfield Stadium. Last we heard it was 0-0. Any sign of a goal at all, Ben?
Unfortunately not. Well, still goalless with 71.5 minutes on the clock. Northampton did have the ball in the net a moment ago, It was Sam Hoskins who the ball fell to in the box. There was a big ricochet on the edge of the area, fell to Sam Hoskins. He tucked away into the bottom left corner, but unfortunately the flag went up for him. He knew, not sure a few of the Northampton technical staff knew as they were celebrating that goal. But unfortunately, it does remain goalless here. I've got to say, neither side looking as though they're going to break the deadlock at the moment. Still 0-0 with just less than 20 minutes to play.
Thank you very much to Ben. We'll be catching up with him, of course, as and when any goals go in. Welcome along to Solent Sports News Live. If you're just tuning in, 9:15 on this Tuesday night, we've got plenty of reporters up and down the country bringing you goals as they go in the Championship, in Sky Bet League One, in the Champions League, and also in the Sussex County Senior Cup, where last we were with Henry Deacon, it was 1-1 between Bognor Regis Town and Burgess Hill Town. Is that still the case at the Nye Camp, Henry? Well, looks as though we'll be able to go to Henry maybe in a moment or so, see if he can, well, not entirely uncharacteristic to say that there's one or two connectivity problems. That does happen up and down the country, but we'll catch up with Henry as soon as we possibly can. In the meantime, let's just go back to the snooker, because last we heard from Wes Spearman in the Champion of Champions match, the second quarter final between Judd Trump and David Gilbert. It looked as though Trump was pretty much wrapping up the sixth frame. Maybe not the case, Wes.
Well, Trump is still leading 52 points to 17 in this sixth frame. Still 35 points left on the table, but the trouble for David Gilbert is he's 35 points behind, so snookers are required for the part-time potato farmer. And he has, to be honest, made a bit of a mess of things. He had a very easy pink into the bottom left corner pocket, tried to put a bit too much backspin on it. The keyboard jumped, the pink just getting stuck in the drawers before going up further up the table. And then very well snookered Trump behind the yellow. Trump escaped, but nearly went in off. And then Gilbert, looking to pot the red into the bottom right corner pocket, just nudged the cue ball as he was lining up his shot. So a foul and 4 points away to Judd Trump. But David Gilbert's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get back into the sixth frame. 52 points to 17, Judd Trump 3, David Gilbert 2.
Thank you very much to Wes. Now, possibly the reason we lost Henry is because there was drama at the Nye Camp. A penalty kick, I believe, Henry.
Yeah, penalty kick, and it's been saved. Initial foul in the box. It was Joe Cook that went down. Then coming up to the penalty spot, it was Tommy Lee. He went down to the keeper's left-hand side, saved by Alfie Jones in the Burgess Hill Town goal. Then Burgess Hill have broken at the other end, but coming to no avail. Well, that's the first. What could be a lot of penalties here this evening. There's 12 to play. Nothing to split these two. It's Bognor 1, Burgess Hill 1.
Thank you very much, Henry Deacon. So could be going to penalties in the Sussex County Senior Cup if it stays as it is. Bognor Regis Town 1, Burgess Hill Town 1. More from Henry as and when anything happens. Okay, let's have a quick flick round the Champions League games then again. Plenty of goals been going in certain matches. It looks as though most of them have gone in at the Gaywood Stadium, where Atalanta are hosting Liverpool in Group D. We're 15 minutes or so into this second half, maybe 20 in actual fact. How have things been going so far, Jack?
Yeah, brilliant for Liverpool. Not so much for Atalanta. 62 minutes gone here. Well, Liverpool are just not quite in cruise control, but they've had a few chances. Atalanta, they've actually had one cannoned off the post by Zapata again. But as of right now, it's not much going on here apart from that one crossbar hit, post hit. So still 5-0 here.
Thank you very much to Jack. So 62, 63 minutes gone in that game. Atalanta 0, Liverpool 5. Okay, let's find out how Manchester City are getting on against Olympiacos. Last we heard, City, although having the lion's share of possessions, had only scored once against the Greek side. Is that still the case at the Etihad Stadium, Matt Ryan?
somehow things have actually taken a change here. Olympiacos have been on top in the last 20 minutes. They definitely should have scored about 5 minutes ago. Edison, as we like to know, he likes to play the ball out from the back. It didn't work, as it sometimes does. It fell to Foden, who lost the ball. Mathieu Valbuena was straight in the goal, but he scuffed his shot. Immediately feigned injury, trying to get a penalty, but it didn't come off. But yeah, Olympiacos have had a couple of really good chances. The striker, El Arabi, has looked quite sharp. He's been giving John Stones and Nathan Ake a very hard game here. But for now, still 1-0 Manchester City.
Thank you very much to Matt. Okay, let's catch up with Tom Creswell. He's watching RB Salzburg against Bayern Munich at the RB Arena. Again, last we heard, Bayern leading 2-1. Is that still the case, Tom?
Yes, it is indeed still Bayern Munich 2, Salzburg 1. Bayern Munich not really threatening as much as I thought they would be in the second half so far. Just had a shot now, a brilliant save by Stankovic from Serge Gnabry, diving down to his left to palm the ball away for a corner. But for the most part, it's been all Salzburg, dominating possession, getting more attacks in there, getting more, yes, they're wild pop shots from distance, but getting more shots in on goal. But it does remain, just after the hour mark, 2-1 to Bayern Munich.
Thank you very much to Tom. It was a rather entertaining first half between Real Madrid and Inter Milan at the Estadio Bernabeu. How have things been going last 20 minutes or so of the first 20 minutes of the second half, Cameron Summers?
Yes, Will, not many chances here in the second half, but Inter definitely on top for most of it. The game certainly has had a lot more bite in it, with Ferland Mendy from Real Madrid and Brozovic in midfield for Inter, both picking up yellow cards. One of them on Eden Hazard, who has been replaced for Real Madrid. Maybe a precaution or maybe a tactical change. With Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo coming on for Hazard and Asensio, Madrid have just had a chance, with Vasquez just poking wide with a toe-poked finish from the edge of the box. Still 2-1 here, 25 minutes ago.
Thank you very much to Cameron. We'll be going and finding out what's been going on between Porto and Marseille in a moment or so. But there's been another goal at the MCH Arena where FC Midtjylland are entertaining Ajax. Which way has it gone, Luke Robinson?
Well, it has gone in the favour of Ajax, but there's currently a VAR goal check. Anthony was the man who thought he gave his side the third goal of the night. A lovely over-the-top ball. That's what's being debated, whether he was offside or not. But he picked up the ball on the wing, took out his fullback with a lovely bit of skill and bared through on goal at an angle. And he just slots it past the Midtjylland goalkeeper, Anderson, at an angle. And they're reviewing it now. It looks like he might just be offside and that goal will be wiped out. And it is confirmed as a no goal. So as it stands, still 2-1 to Ajax.
Well, it wouldn't be the Champions League, would it, if we didn't have some VAR drama, and VAR drama very much at the MCH Arena tonight. So it's not 3-1 to Ajax, it's Midtjylland 1, Ajax 2. However, there has been a goal back in the Championship, and it's gone in at the Cardiff City Stadium. Has it gone to Cardiff or has it gone to Barnsley, Ethan Evans?
Yes, 3-0 to Cardiff City. I think this game is more or less over now, and it's Harry Wilson. It was an absolutely emphatic finish into the top right-hand corner, right on the edge of the box, and takes defenders were surrounding him. I don't know how he managed to thunder that ball into that top right-hand corner, past Walton, who was helpless. And currently with 79 minutes in, Cardiff are steamrolling Barnsley. There's no really chance for them to get back into this game. I don't think their new manager is going to be very happy with this performance at all. It's 79 minutes in, Cardiff City 3, Barnsley 0.
Looks as though the points are safely in the pocket of Neil Harris's side then. There's been a goal also, a late goal possibly, in the Sussex County Senior Cup game between Bognor Regis Town and Burgess Hill Town. Which way has it gone, Henry Deacon?
And Bognor have re-established their advantage. It's been given as an own goal. Look from where we were. Mongo was the one who, for Bognor Regis, touched into the back of the net as Sam Dow's has gone down. And the Burgess Hill players are surrounding the referee. It looks like he's going straight to his pocket, but going back to the goal, probably a little bit against the run of play. Burgess Hill reacted the better since the penalty save, but Bognor came at the other end. Good play from them. Ball goes across into the penalty area, slots it into the back of the net. The referee now having a quick chat, but it looks like nothing to it. Just a yellow card. We've got 5 minutes to play, and as things stand, Bognor are going through. They're going to create 2 victories in 2 years against Burgess Hill in the Sussex Senior Cup. 2-1 Bognor here.
Thank you very much to Henry inside the last 5 minutes in that match. A whole host of goals going on in the in the Champions League. Let's hear the first of them. It's between Real Madrid and Inter Milan at the Bernabeu. Have Madrid extended their lead, or are Inter back on level terms, Cameron Summers?
Well, we said Inter were the ones applying the pressure in the second half, and that pressure has paid off. They've equalised here through Ivan Perisic, man who came in to replace Lukaku, has grabbed a goal after a neat flick over the top from Lautaro Martinez. 2-2 with 20 minutes left.
Thank you very much to Cameron. Now, there's been another goal also at the RB Arena. Salzburg did take the lead in this match. Bayern then jumped into a 2-1 lead. So have Bayern extended their lead, Tom Creswell, or are Salzburg back on level terms?
Salzburg are back on level terms. It's Salzburg 2, Bayern Munich 2, and it's a substitute, Masaya Okagawa, scoring with his first touch after Andre Ramalho won the ball in midfield. A brilliant finish, gets past his defender, and then just slots the ball past Manuel Neuer, who had absolutely no chance. Just before the goal went in, Kingsley Coman hit the crossbar, and it's Bayern had picked up a little bit, but Salzburg out of nowhere really have pegged back, and we have parity in Salzburg. It's Salzburg 2, Bayern Munich 2.
There's also been a goal, thank you very much, Tom. There's also been a goal in the game between Porto and Marseille. Porto had the chances in the first half. They had the goals. Marseille, though, missed a penalty. So are Marseille back in this one, or a Porto home and hose, Jack Mirkovic?
Well, as cliches go, Will, it's only a matter of time before pressure amounts, and Porto have scored a third. It has come courtesy of Luis Diaz, and it's really just Marseille's own doing. It's a really, really well worked goal. Sergio Oliveira running through the midfield at ease, the Marseille midfield. Jesus Corona picks up the ball, back heels into Luis Diaz, who calmly strokes past the sprawling Steve Mandanda into the bottom corner. But it really is one of them now for Marseille, playing for pride. 3-0 down here and completely out of this contest. 72 minutes gone, Porto 3, Marseille 0 here.
Thank you very much to Jack. So those latest in the Champions League, all with around about 15, 16 minutes or so to go. Atalanta 0, Liverpool 5, FC Porto 3, Marseille 0, Man City 1, Olympiacos 0, Midtjylland 1, Ajax 2, and it's 2-2 between Real Madrid and Inter Milan and Salzburg and Bayern Munich. Okay, we'll be getting an update from the snooker in a moment or so, but let's go to League One, where there's been another goal at the new Plough Lane. It was 1-1. Which way has it gone, Rosie Russell?
Well, I'm sure the Wimbledon fans will be happy because it's gone their way, and what a turnaround in game we have had. It was all Doncaster, but Wimbledon have come back fighting. It was a goal from Pigott, ball in from the left-hand side. Pigott stood straight in the middle of the penalty box, straight into the back of the net, and that's his 6th goal of this season. So I'm sure the Wimbledon fans will be delighted as they lead 2-1 in the 84th minute.
Thank you very much, Rosie. 2 goals from Joe Pigott tonight. He's made the history books. Can he get a hat-trick possibly in the first game at the new Plough Lane? Either way, he got the first and he got the second AFC Wimbledon goals. Let's take a look at what's going on with the other Dons team. That's the MK Dons. They're away at Northampton tonight. Last we heard it was 0-0 at Sixfield Stadium. Any hint of a goal, Ben Burgess?
Yeah, it was Northampton who came close a moment ago. A brilliantly swinging corner from the right-hand side. Ricky Holmes, the substitute, on his second debut for the club. He's the big hope for them. He swung in a really brilliant delivery with his left boot into the 6-yard area. The header came in from Horsfall, who's caused a problem all night from set plays. His header cannoned off the bar. There was a bullet header from him, but then the striker, Harry Smith, couldn't quite get on to the loose scraps in the area. Still 0-0 and heading into the last 5 minutes. I think it's fair to say that neither side have been good value for the 3 points. And this, if it stays the same, will be a fair result here at Sixfield. Still 0-0. It remains 4 minutes left on the clock.
Ben Burgess couldn't buy a goal tonight. Neither could Northampton or MK Dons. Let's see if there's any final drama in the last few minutes there. There was plenty of drama, wasn't there, in the snooker, the Champion of Champions second quarter-final game between Judd Trump and David Gilbert. Looked as though for a minute Trump was messing up frame 6, but the frame is over. Which way has it gone, Wes Spearman?
It's gone the way to the world number 1. He is now leading 4-2 as they've just headed off into another mid-session interval. The scoreline was stuck at 52-17 for quite a while as the match time had ticked over 2 hours. Both players going for snookers to try and get themselves an extra 4 points. Gilbert was trailing by 35, as I said earlier, with 35 left on the table, so he needed snookers. He then potted the cue ball whilst escaping from Trump's snooker, putting Trump 4 points ahead, and Gilbert himself requiring at least 2 snookers. But fortunately for Trump, Gilbert messed up yet again, leaving an easy pot for the final red into the bottom left corner pocket. Trump potted it and couldn't quite finish the clear up, messed up on the brown, but he now leads 4 frames to 2.
Thank you very much to Wes. They're going to take a break. He's going to take a break, and we'll catch up with Wes shortly. Okay, back to the Sky Bet Championship then. Last we heard, Blackburn and Middlesbrough were trading chance after chance after chance, but there wasn't any goals. Has that changed at all as we enter the last 3 or 4 minutes of normal time, Regan Valley?
No, Will, I've got to tell you that if you weren't paying attention to this game and I told you there'll be 23 shots in total in this game, you would definitely not predict a 0-0 scoreline, but that's exactly what's happening here. Middlesbrough with another fantastic chance. They have 18 of the 23 themselves. Another corner by Paddy McNair, right on the head of Dale Fry at the back post, but just heads over. And also a little note for Blackburn Rovers, 2 more changes off for injury. They've used all 3 with just 5 minutes to play. It's Tribal as well as Williams off injured, adding to the list of Armstrong. And of course, that Bradley Dack, he's also out for another month. And that's more injury woes for Tony Mowbray and Blackburn Rovers. We're entering the 5 minutes. And somehow, yet again, it's Blackburn Rovers 0, Middlesbrough 0.
2 of our reporters then somehow can't buy themselves a goal tonight, not for the want of trying there by the sounds of things at Ewood Park. There have been games though for Ethan Evans in the match between Cardiff and Barnsley tonight. Been goals rather, not games, goals between Cardiff and Barnsley. Cardiff look as though they had got it sewed up last time we heard from Ethan. Is that still the case entering the last few minutes, Ethan?
Yes, well, I think this game is more or less done now. It's been ever since Harry Wilson scored his banger of a goal in the 77th minute. It's just been a battle in the midfield for both sides, and Cardiff are winning it. They are pressuring as much as they can to get that fourth. A few changes have been made. Joe Rules, the scorer of the penalty and death of the first half, was taken off for Will Volks, and the goal scorer, probably my man of the match, Harry Wilson, was also taken off for Gavin White. I don't think there'll be another goal in this game, because I think Barnsley are just trying to defend as much as they can to try and keep it to 3. What I say is Walton just palms the ball away. But yeah, that's at the moment about 88 minutes in. It's Cardiff City 3, Barnsley 0.
Thank you very much to Ethan. The other full times incident in the Championship tonight ended Brentford 1, Swansea 1, Huddersfield 1, Bristol City 2, Norwich 0, Millwall 0, a much needed win for Sheffield Wednesday as they beat Bournemouth by 1-0. Both teams having men sent off certainly in that match, but Gary Monk will be delighted to get his team onto -1 points at the bottom of the Championship table. As we've heard, Blackburn 0, Middlesbrough 0, Cardiff 3, Barnsley 0. They are latest. We're going towards the end of the 90 minutes, maybe even into added time at the new Plough Lane. Last we heard, Wimbledon were beating Doncaster by 2-1. Is that still the case, Rosie Russell?
Is still the case. I think we're just about to go into added time, and I think we've been given 3 minutes added time. Doncaster looked to be coming back as James passed into the box for Colo for a header, but that fell to the left of the goal, so it is still 2-1 here. AFC Wimbledon 2, Doncaster 1 with 3 minutes left to go.
Thank you very much, Rosie. Now, Northampton are entertaining MK Dons at Sixfields Stadium. We'd had bars being hit. We'd had penalty appeals being turned down. If he doesn't get a goal, he might be hitting the bar himself. But is there any hope of one, Ben Burgess, in the final few minutes?
I don't think so. Well, we're into 3 minutes of added time here. We've already played a minute and a half of those minutes added, and you almost do the game a little bit of an injustice there when you say we've had penalty appeals and bars hit, because it's really been a miserable evening of football here at Sixfield. 68% possession for MK Dons, but only one shot on target, which was registered midway through the first half, tells the full story. And to be honest with you, I think both of the sets of fans for these two sides will be glad that they've not been allowed in the stadium tonight. It's been that poor. We approach the final minute of this one. Can't see any chance for either side to grab a late winner here. Still 0-0 at Sixfield.
Thank you very much, Ben. Okay, let's go down to the Sussex County Senior Cup game, where I believe the full-time whistle has been blown in the match between Bognor Regis Town and Burgess Hill Town. How did it end, Henry Deacon?
Yeah, whistle's just gone here. He finished Bognor 2, Burgess Hill 1. Burgess Hill counted in the final stages. Paul had the ball going in the box, but couldn't find the final product. Entertaining game, this one. They're fighting right to the end. It's the same scoreline as the Sussex Senior Cup final 2019, 18 months ago. Well, it seems like a lifetime ago the way things have gone. But it's the same feeling, the same result. These Bognor Regis fans leaving the ground will be the last time for about a month and a half now because of the enforced lockdown. No action for them until December the 5th at the earliest. Well, that's a parting present. What a parting present it was. They're saying we'll see you again on the tannoy. They will see him again in a few weeks. And they're into the Sussex Senior Cup next round. It's finished here. Bognor 2, Burgess Hill 1.
Thank you very much there to Henry. He's been delighted to be amongst real people this evening in that match at the Nye camp. It ended Bognor Regis Town 2, Burgess Hill Town 1, thanks to Henry. Okay, there's been a goal, I believe, in the game at Plough Lane. Let's quickly find out which way it's gone. Did Wimbledon manage to extend their lead, or is it a point apiece, Rosie Russell?
No, it's drawing here now at Plough Lane. It's a very, very eventful game. Just as you think Wimbledon have the lead, Doncaster come back, a deflected shot, looped high of Connor Truman, and Coppinger shot it into the back of the net. 2-2 here with seconds to go. So extremely eventful. AFC Wimbledon 2, Doncaster 2, final whistle very, very shortly.
Thank you very much. I believe the final whistle has blown at Sixfield Stadium, and you weren't able to see a goal, I don't believe, Ben Burgess.
Fortunately not, Will. Handshakes between the two sides, but goalless. It finished here at Sixfield. The closest we came to a goal was that header from Fraser Horsfall on the 70th minute. A bullet header from him at the far post from a well-swung-in corner by Ricky Holmes. Cannoned off the crossbar, and Northampton couldn't find the finish on the rebound. But that was the closest we come. As I say, Cameron Jerome had a strong penalty appeal as he broke into the box at the start of the second half. That's as good as he got, really. Neither side threatened in this game, and MK Dons, for all the ball that they had, never really created a chance in this one. It finishes 0-0 here at Sixfields, and both of these sides remain down the foot of the League One table.
Thank you very much to Ben. Sorry we couldn't provide a goal for you, or at least Northampton and MK Dons couldn't provide a goal for you. Okay, further afield, there's been a goal at the Stadio Bernabeu where Cam Summers is watching Real Madrid against Inter. Which way has it gone, Cam?
And it's gone to the home side. And it's the two substitutes for Real Madrid combining some blistering pace down the left-hand side from Vinicius Jr. And he plays the ball across the face of goal to his fellow Brazilian, Rodrigo, who fires home for Madrid past a helpless Handanovic. 3-2 to the hosts with mere minutes to go.
Thank you very much, Cam. That could be the winner for Real Madrid. Man City were beating Olympiacos at the Etihad by 1-0, but there's been a late goal in that game. Which way has it gone, Matt Ryan?
It's gone to the home side here. You bring on a striker and look what happened. Pep Guardiola used Gabriel Jesus, as I said before, just back from injury. He's brought the number 9 on. He's run down the wing. He's gone past Ruben Semedo and he's shot from basically the byline. All his players turned away in disbelief, thinking he shot from that angle. And it's actually snuck in the back corner. And yeah, what a fantastic goal. It's 2-0 Manchester City.
2-0 Man City, looking as though they've got that wrapped up, entering the last, 6 or 7 minutes of that match. There's also been a goal in the game between Salzburg and Bayern Munich. Now, this was a funny old game. Salzburg took the lead. Bayern pegged them back to be leading 2-1. Then it was 2-2. There's been a fifth goal, as I say. Which way has it gone at the RB Arena? Tom Creswell.
It's gone to the visitors. It's Bayern Munich 3, Salzburg 2. It's Bayern's first attack since the equaliser, really. An in-swinging corner from Leroy Sané on the side, and Jerome Boateng has absolutely powered ahead at home past the helpless Stankovic to make it 3-2. 10 minutes to go here. Can Salzburg get the equaliser, or will Bayern be happy to see this out? 3-2, 10 minutes to play.
Thank you very much there to Tom. Okay, a couple of full times just to fill you in on. It's finished at Plough Lane. Rosie, did it end 2-2, or was there a late goal in that match?
No, it did end 2-2. So final whistle, AFC Wimbledon 2, Doncaster 2. And Wimbledon break their winning streak against Doncaster. It was a nail-biting game. You didn't know who was coming 1 minute. It was Doncaster more dominant, then it was Wimbledon. And it was so close for AFC Wimbledon on such an emotional and important night. It's their first game at Plough Lane, and it's a draw. It looked to be 3 points for them, but Coppinger's goal in extra time turned it to just the one. Piggott looked to be the AFC Wimbledon hero with 2 goals and 6 goals in the league, but although he wasn't their hero, he has wrote history being the first goal at Plough Lane. So final whistle here, and AFC Wimbledon 2, Doncaster 2.
Thank you very much to Rosie. So as she says, not unfortunately a first win, but certainly the first goals for AFC Wimbledon at their brand new Plough Lane Stadium. Okay, final whistle has also gone at the Cardiff City Stadium. Ethan Evans was watching Cardiff against Barnsley. How did it end, Ethan?
Yes, well, full time here at the Cardiff City Stadium, and Neil Harris is going to be one happy man. The full-time score was 3-0 to the Bluebirds, and his Bluebirds have finally broken their home rut this season with the first home league win this campaign, and what an emphatic one at that. What a performance from Harry Wilson, who on loan from Liverpool, who rounded out his terrific performance later on with a rifle of a strike to add the 3rd goal, with Joe Rolls and Junior Howlett finishing off the scoring. Barnes' new gaffer suffers his first defeat, and he'll be left with nothing but frustration, as aside from a few instances of dangerous attacking play, they were never really in this game from minute 1, to be fair. Is Cardiff City's season finally underway? Well, we'll find out in the 7-side derby with Bristol on Friday, as Barnsley ready to make amends away to Derby this weekend. Full-time score here at the Cardiff City Stadium, Cardiff City 3, Barnsley 0.
Emphatic stuff from Cardiff. Thanks very much to Ethan Evans. The full-time whistle's also gone at Ewood Park, where Regan Valley was watching Blackburn against Middlesbrough. Was either side able to break the deadlock in the end, Regan?
No, unfortunately not. And I've just checked, and the 26 shots tonight is the most in the championship tonight. And despite 3 goals in some games and 2 in the other, it's the 0-0 that caught the most attention of the people looking for goals. But unfortunately, there were none today. We had many chances, 20 for Middlesbrough in total. We were saying beforehand how Blackburn Rovers attack and Middlesbrough defence could cancel each other out, but it was actually the polar opposite. It's Blackburn's defence and Middlesbrough's attack that cancelled each other out. That's 9 unbeaten now for Neil Warnock's team. That's a valuable point as they look to push further up the table, where Blackburn is another point, and it's still relegation possibly for them, currently around 14th in the table. Somehow it has finished 0-0 here. Neil Warnock trudges down the tunnel, quite unhappy, whereas Tony Mowbray leaves against his Middlesbrough team, who he loves so much. A happy man, as somehow his team has escaped with a point, 0-0.
Thank you very much to Regan. Okay, there's been another goal in the game in the Champions League between RB Salzburg and Bayern Munich, I beg your pardon. Which way has it gone, Tom Creswell?
Bayern Munich have now more or less wrapped this one up. It's now 4-2 against Salzburg. It's Leroy Sané this time. Martinez wins the ball back in midfield. Poor touch by Okafor, and it's easily set up for Leroy Sané to come back, chop the ball back inside, and then just curl it into the top left corner with his left foot. 4-2 now. I don't see any way back for Salzburg with just over 5 minutes to go. Bayern Munich 4, Salzburg 2.
Thank you very much there to Tom. Okay, let's catch up with what's going on in the snooker, the second quarter final between Trump and Gilbert. Wes Spearman reporting from the MK Arena. Wes?
Yeah, the 7th frame just finished now. Trump just breaking off in the 8th. But David Gilbert, fantastic comeback in the last frame. It took him a while to get off the mark. Both players missing early pots. But once Gilbert got underway with a red into the bottom left, he just kept going with a break of 71. Nearly messed it up, potted a pink, but the referee couldn't quite get the pink ball back on its spot. But from there on, it was I was hesitant to say the word masterclass, but a fantastic clearance from David Gilbert. And can he come back in this match? Trump needing just 2 frames to win this quarterfinal. But it's certainly going to be a close finish. Trump 4, Gilbert 3.
Thank you very much there to Wes. So plenty of nails being bitten in the Champion of Champions snooker second quarter-final at the arena in Milton Keynes. Okay, so let's just quickly round up what's been happening in the Football League here in England tonight. These are all now full-time scores, so let's rattle through these. In the Championship, it ended Brentford 1, Swansea 1, Huddersfield 1, Bristol City 2, Norwich 0, Millwall 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Bournemouth 0, Blackburn 0, Middlesbrough 0, and Cardiff 3, Barnsley 0. In Sky Bet League 1, it ended Shrewsbury 1, Burton 1, Blackpool 1, Wigan 0, Bristol Rovers 0, Peterborough 2, Charlton 3, Fleetwood 2, Crewe 0, Gillingham 1, Lincoln 1, Portsmouth 3, Oxford United 3, Rochdale 1, Plymouth 4, Swindon 2, Sunderland 2, Ipswich 1. It ended 2-2 between AFC Wimbledon and Doncaster at the first game at the new Plough Lane Stadium, and it also ended goalless between Northampton and MK Dons. In Sky Bet League 2, Oldham 2, Cheltenham 1, Morecambe 2, Exeter 2, Bolton 1, Mansfield 1. It ended Bradford City 3, Southend 0, Cambridge United 2, Salford 1, Carlisle 3, Newport 2, Colchester 3, Stevenage 1. It ended Forest Green Rovers 2, Leyton Orient 1, Grimsby 1, Barrow 1, Barrow 0, beg your pardon, Harrogate 0, Tranmere 1, and Walsall beat Crawley by a goal to 0. In the Champions League tonight, it ended Lokomotiv Moscow 1, Atletico Madrid 1, and it also ended Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Borussia Mönchengladbach 6. Well, talking of goals, there's been plenty going in at the RB Arena also tonight. There's been another one between Salzburg and Bayern Munich. Which way has it gone this time, Tom Creswell?
Once again, it has gone to Bayern Munich. It is now 5-2 to the German side. It's Robert Lewandowski again this time. He scored their first goal, and has he scored the last? At this rate, probably not. A leaping header at the back post gets above both of the centre-halves to knock it past Stankovic again. With 2 minutes to go, it's 5-2 Bayern Munich.
Closing stages of that game then. Let's go and check in with Jack Mayo. He's been watching Atalanta against Liverpool. It's been a walkover almost for Liverpool tonight at the Gaywood Stadium. It's still very much a case of a walkover, Jack.
Yes, you haven't heard much from me. We are 1 of 2 minutes into stoppage time here, and Liverpool's game management has been very good. Just into the second half, they made a triple change of Robertson for Keita, Henderson for Milner, and Roberto Firmino for Jota. And there might be some injury scares for Liverpool as Milner looked to come on and go into the left back position for Robertson. And just before Jota was brought off, he seemed to take a clattering challenge, which made him walk off with the club's doctor. So there might be some scares for them. And then just after 10 minutes to go, Trent Alexander-Arnold was taken off for Nico Williams, and Gini Wijnaldum was taken off for Kostas Tsimikas, and there was also a booking for Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp for some complaints that he felt on a foul on Curtis Jones. As for Atalanta, they have tested goalkeeper Alisson Becker a couple of times, mainly from Zapata, who's looked the most lively of Atalanta's players today, but unfortunately, there isn't much to talk about as the full-time whistle just blows here. It's Atalanta 0, Liverpool 5.
Thank you very much there to Jack. So full-time at the Gaywood Stadium in northern Italy. Atalanta 0, a rampant Liverpool 5. Talking of rampant, it took them a while, but Manchester City are filling their boots now against Olympiacos, Matt Ryan.
Yeah, it's been a game of subs here, Will. João Cancelo has come on for Kyle Walker and scored definitely the goal of the game. Some nice work in the middle of the park between him and youngster Felix Nemecha, who is also making his Champions League debut. A 1-2 little give and go by them, about 25 yards out. Cancelo receives it, takes a good shot with his left foot, and it goes low into the corner past Jose Sarr. This looks wrapped up now. 1 minute 30 into the 3 minutes added time. Manchester City 3, Olympiacos 0.
Certainly look as though they've got the points, don't they? Okay, it's ended, I believe, at the Estadio Bernabeu, where Cam Summers has been watching Real Madrid against Inter Milan.
Yes, Will. Real Madrid held on here for a 3-2 win A good win for Zidane's men. They looked a little shaky at the back, Inter pressuring them a lot towards the back end, looking for that equaliser. But Madrid's defence held strong and come away with their first win in Group B.
Thank you very much there to Cam. So Real Madrid 3, Inter Milan 2. The final whistle is practically upon us also at the Estadio de Dragão in northern Portugal, where Porto have been entertaining Marseille. Jack Mirkovic.
It has just gone full-time, Will. Porto have run out 3-0 winners here against Marseille. Only really got themselves to blame Andre Villas-Boas' side. Pretty lacklustre throughout that second half. And bottom of the group, still without a goal. That's 7 goals conceded now. They actually had 7 shots on goal to Porto's 5. Porto with 4 on target, but Marseille with 0. So if that doesn't explain the story of the French in Portugal, I don't know what does. But Porto will be quietly confident they can qualify top 2 from this group alongside Manchester City, it's looking like. But it has ended here. Porto 3, Marseille 0.
Thank you very much to Jack Mirkovic. So a good home win there for Porto. Looks like it's going to be a good home win for Manchester City. A good away win for Liverpool tonight. And it's looking like a good night for German sides. Borussia Mönchengladbach scored 6 in the Ukraine. Bayern Munich look as though they might have matched them in Austria, Tom Creswell.
They have indeed, with just seconds remaining on the clock. It's Lucas Hernandez, coming from left back to lash home an effort straight into the top corner. Again, absolutely no chance for the man in goal, Stankovic. And that is indeed full-time. 6-2 it finishes in Salzburg. Salzburg, again, did grow into the game a bit in the second half, scoring the first goal of the half through Okagawa. But as soon as Sané came on for Bayern, the game changed, retaking the lead on the 80th minute mark through Jerome Boateng. And then Sané scoring the sealing goal with 5 minutes to go. Lewandowski scoring again with a back post header on the 88th minute. And 3 minutes later, Lucas Hernandez scoring to make it 6. So Bayern now just needing 2 points from their last 3 games to qualify for the next round. However, Salzburg rooted to the bottom of their group just on the 1 point. Full time in Salzburg, Bayern Munich 6, Salzburg 2.
Thank you very much to Tom Creswell. So 5 goals for Liverpool tonight, 6 for Bayern Munich, 6 for Borussia Mönchengladbach, 3 for Real Madrid, 3 for Porto. Let's see whether or not it's finished at the Etihad. Manchester City against Olympiacos, Matt Ryan.
Yeah, it's just the 3 for Manchester City here tonight. It definitely should have been more. It was a bit of a roller coaster performance for Pep Guardiola's side tonight. They started really well. They got first goal coming in 12 minutes. They fell off for about 50 minutes, really. It took him a couple of substitutions for them to sort of performance back out. Late goals from Gabriel Jesus and João Cancelo sealed off the win. From what I can see here on the pitch, the players seem, especially Kevin De Bruyne, seems upset, and so does Ferran Torres at something. I'm not sure what's going on. I think it might have been their substitutions, but yeah, it was a strange performance from Manchester City, but a win nonetheless. They topped their group with 3 wins in 3, and yeah, 3-0 Manchester City.
Thank you very much, Matt. And it's also ended at the MCH Arena, FC Midtjylland against Ajax. Luke Robinson.
Well, FC Midtjylland certainly put in a good effort. They had a penalty shout right towards the end. Lasse Weber was dragged down by Shaw Kleiber in the box, but referee Bobby Madden waved it away. The players aren't happy. They're currently protesting after the final whistle, but it has ended 2-1 here at the MCH Arena at full time. Ajax went 2 goals up thanks to Anthony and Dusan Tadic. Midtjylland managed to pull one back thanks to Anders Dreyer, but Ajax managed to keep possession for most of the majority of the game and establish their dominance on the Danish side. Although there was a last 10-minute onslaught from Midtjylland, it didn't result in any major chances. Full time, 2-1 to Ajax.
Thank you very much there to Luke Robinson. So let's just recap what's happened in the UEFA Champions League tonight. These are all full times. Lokomotiv Moscow 1, Atletico Madrid 1, Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Borussia Mönchengladbach 6, Atalanta 0, Liverpool 5, FC Porto 3, Marseille 0, Manchester City 3, Olympiacos 0, Midtjylland 1, Ajax 2, Real Madrid 3, Inter Milan 2, and Salzburg 2, Bayern Munich 6. almost like reading a paper from yesteryear, isn't it? When your granddad used to say they score 6, 7 and 8. Well, that's exactly what's been happening around Europe tonight. Goals flying in every single match we've been covering. Some fantastic stuff, and indeed some fantastic reporting from our team of reporters. Just to remind you what's also happened in the Sky Bet Championship, in the games that we've been covering here on Solent Sports News Live. Regan Valley watched Blackburn drew 0-0 with Middlesbrough. Ethan Evans watched Cardiff beat Barnsley by 3-0. It was a 1-1 draw for Billy Taylor between Brentford and Swansea City. Henry Buxton watched Bristol City win 2-1 away at Huddersfield at the John Smith Stadium. In Sky Bet League One, Rosie Russell watched a 2-2 draw at the first game at the New Plough Lane between AFC Wimbledon and Doncaster Rovers. Ben Burgess couldn't buy a goal at Sixfield Stadium. He saw a 0-0 draw between Northampton Town and MK Dons. Henry Deacon was there alongside the fans as he watched Bognor Town Regis beat Burgess Hill Town 2-1 in the Sussex County Senior Cup. And as we say, in the Champions League, Jack Mayo has watched Liverpool stick 5 past Atalanta in a 5-0 win. Matt Ryan has watched Manchester City beat Olympiacos 3-0. Tom Creswell saw Bayern Munich score 6 away at Salzburg in a 6-2 victory. Can Summers saw Real Madrid beat Inter Milan 3-2. Porto scored 3 in a home win against Marseille, watched in front of Jack Merkovich, and Luke Robinson was there to watch Ajax beat FC Midtjylland by 2-1. Let's get a final wrap up from Wes Spearman, who's been watching the Champion of Champions second quarter final between Trump and Gilbert at the arena in MK. Wes, where are we now in proceedings?
Well, 8 frames have been played, Will, and Judd Trump is just 1 frame away from reaching the semi-finals. He leads Gilbert 5 frames to 3. And another century break. That's out of the 5 frames Trump has won. 4 of them have involved a break of more than 100. All 15 reds, 8 blacks, 6 blues, and the 1 pink as well. Trump leading 5 frames to 3, ahead of Gilbert, just needing the 1 to see him through to the semi-final.
Thank you very much there too, Wes. Looks as though Judd Trump, the world #1, has got that one wrapped up. Well, listen, thank you very much for listening to us tonight on Solent Sports News Live. Hope you've enjoyed the programme. From our reporters, Regan Valley, Ethan Evans, Billy Taylor, Henry Buxton, Rosie Russell, Ben Burgess, Henry Deacon, Jack Mayo, Matt Ryan, Tom Creswell, Cameron Summers, Jack Merkovich, Luke Robinson, and Wesley Spearman. We wish you a good night. From me, Will Cope, thanks very much for listening. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. And we'll see you same time, same place tomorrow night. For now, though, it's goodbye.